To prove that humans and zombies can have children together, I directly tied up a relatively clean female zombie, planning to develop feelings for her over time. It turned out that a global zombie apocalypse had arrived. 90% of humanity had turned into zombies, but I had activated a love system that had nothing to do with the apocalypse. But just then, a beautiful-looking zombie caught my attention. This made me suddenly have an epiphany. The love system didn't seem to have restrictions on race or gender. Besides, such a beautiful zombie. It would be such a waste to just leave her here. Thinking of this, I directly took out a rope from my pocket. At this moment, the zombie, probably because she was too bored, was hitting her head against the wall repeatedly. Seeing this, I tied one end of the rope to a fire hydrant and made a noose at the other end. Then I threw it forcefully and directly trapped the entire zombie in it. Immediately, she let out a roar. But in the next second, a rag was stuffed into her mouth. Smelling the scent of human flesh so close by, the zombie reacted very violently at this moment. She kept trying to lean her small head towards me, but I excitedly stroked her small hand. Suddenly, the system's voice sounded in my mind. Congratulations, host, for completing the hand-holding mission. Target name, Che Xiaoxiao. Identity, female college student. Cosplay enthusiast. Zombie. Favorability 0. Hand-holding reward, 100 kilo of raw meat. First kiss reward, zombie virus vaccine. Complete strategy reward, genetic evolution potion. Seeing this, my breathing became rapid. Not to mention the latter two rewards. Just the 100 kilo of raw meat from the hand-holding reward alone would be enough for me to eat for 2.5 years. However, the difficult part now is how to increase the zombies' favorability. Right now, their minds are filled only with brains. Can they really understand what favorability is? After thinking for a while, I took the rag out of Che Xiaoxiao's mouth. She immediately roared at me. Her mouth full of sharp fangs kept snapping together, making crisp clicking sounds. I took a piece of raw meat out of the system space and forcefully stuffed it into her mouth. Immediately, the roar stopped abruptly. She immediately started tearing at the raw meat. Seeing this, I sighed. With such sharp teeth, it seems that I can forget about the second stage first kiss reward for now. At this moment, the door next door was pushed open. A man and a woman walked out of it. Little brother. My husband and I haven't eaten anything for 2 days. Look, you have so much food, yet you're feeding it to zombies. Can you spare us some? These two were a newlywed couple. The man's name was Zhao Dabao. The woman's name was Lin Keking. Since they usually ordered takeout every day, they had no extra food at home. In my previous life, I believed their nonsense and shared my food with them. I originally thought they would be grateful to me. But when I went out to look for food, they emptied all the supplies in my room, then locked the door tightly. No matter how I shouted, they didn't care. People like this, there's no way I'd give them any food. But Lin Keqing could be useful. At this moment, the system interface appeared in front of me. Name, Lin Keqing. Identity, married woman. Housewife, favorability, 0. Hand-holding reward, 100 kilo of fresh fruits and vegetables. First kiss, reward, a 120 square meter house. Complete strategy. Reward, a 1,000 square meter villa. Seeing this, I couldn't help but curl the corner of my mouth slightly. That's a full 100 ki of fruits and vegetables. Although I don't lack food now, balanced nutrition is still very important. The two of them saw me smile and thought I had agreed. So Zhao Dabao directly made a greedy demand. First, give us 5 kilo of pork and 3 barrels of purified water too. I almost laughed in anger. When did I agree to give you any? Although I have more food than I can eat, I'd rather feed it to zombie dogs than give it to you two. After saying that, I directly pushed Che Xiaoxiao back into the room. Zhao Dabao stared at my back resentfully. He wanted to rush forward, but he was afraid of the zombie I was leading. After returning to the room, I tied Che Xiaoxiao up securely. Then I checked the system panel again. What surprised me was that Che Xiaoxiao's favorability had increased by 5 points. This reminded me of my previous life. In the later stages of the apocalypse, many evolved zombies with intelligence appeared. Could Che Xiaoxiao also evolve? Moreover, just this little bit of meat made her favorability increase by 5 points. This was much easier to raise than ordinary women. Immediately after, I took out a few more pieces of raw meat and fed them to Che Xiaoxiao, successfully increasing her favorability to 10 points. I originally wanted to keep feeding her, but when I saw her bulging stomach, I gave up decisively. After stuffing the rag back into her mouth, I started to plan and make arrangements. 1 month after the zombie outbreak, a terrifying extreme cold would strike. There were only over 20 days left to prepare. First, supplies. There must be food and drinks, as well as clothes and medicine. These were all easy to obtain, but I had been stuck on finding a safe house. Apart from being strong enough, it also needed to be able to maintain a constant indoor temperature when the cold wave hit. It was very difficult to find a building that met these conditions. From what I know, there is no such house in Binhai City. At this moment, I suddenly remembered Lin Keqing's first kiss reward. So I quickly asked the system, "Is the house you reward an existing one, or does it appear out of thin air?" All houses rewarded by the system are constructed out of thin air, and the host can choose any location for construction. What if the house I want is relatively special? For example, a house built with titanium alloy, and it needs to have emergency exits, warehouses, medical and communication equipment, etc. The system paused for a few seconds before giving a reply. The host needs to provide architectural blueprints. In addition, communication and medical equipment do not fall into the category of construction and must be obtained by the host themselves. This made me overjoyed. That means my titanium alloy safe house is possible. At this moment, there was a knock on the door. Lin Keqing was standing stupidly outside the door. She saw that the door hadn't opened for a long time and felt very anxious. Both ends of the corridor were pitch black, wondering if a zombie would suddenly rush out. Just as she was about to give up, the door finally opened. Lin Keqing was happy at first, but when she saw the kitchen knife in my hand, her heart tightened. She quickly said, "Don't be nervous. I don't have any weapons on me." I narrowed my eyes and looked her up and down. She was wearing a thin camisole nightgown and had light makeup on her face. Her lips, painted with lipstick, were very moist. I subconsciously swallowed. It's not that her lips are... This titanium alloy safe house is really tempting. Lin Keqing naturally noticed my reaction. If this were in the past, she would have slapped me long ago, but unfortunately she was begging me now, so she could only force a smile. "I want to borrow some food." I looked at her disdainfully. "No?" Unexpectedly, Lin Keqing's voice became coquettish. "Don't rush to refuse." As she spoke, her body leaned forward slightly, revealing a dazzling view of white skin. "I won't let you suffer. As long as you give me some food, I'll..." She deliberately stopped halfway through her sentence, wanting me to imagine it myself, but I didn't fall for this trick at all. "What will you do? Speak clearly. If you don't, I'll close the door." Lin Keqing gritted her teeth, ready to go all out. "I'll let you touch me for 500 grams of meat. How about one touch?" I shook my head and refused directly. Lin Keqing's face turned ugly instantly. She felt she had sacrificed so much. Yet this man still wanted to bargain. "Just say it. What do I have to do for you to give me some?" "Come in first, then we'll talk." Lin Keqing stood motionless upon hearing this. "What? Aren't you afraid a zombie might jump out suddenly?" As soon as she finished speaking, a zombie's roar came. The sound was very close by. Lin Keqing's pretty face turned deathly pale in an instant. She had no choice but to brace herself and enter the house. Just as I was closing the door, I happened to lock eyes with Zhao Dabao from diagonally across the hall, seeing that he had been discovered. He silently withdrew his head. I sneered and closed the door. He's truly a born cuckold, so good at hiding his head. Inside the house, when Che Xiaoxiao saw Lin Keqing, she immediately became agitated. Lin Keqing, frightened, stepped back instinctively and accidentally bumped into me. Feeling the warm touch behind her, Lin Keqing let out a startled exclamation and quickly stepped away. "Why do you keep a zombie in your house? Aren't you afraid?" I looked calm. "What's there to be afraid of? She's just a zombie." Hearing this, she couldn't help but compare me with Zhao Dabao. "If my husband had half your courage, I wouldn't have to come here to beg for food." Thinking of this, Lin Keqing sighed. "So what exactly do I have to do for you to give me some food?" 5 seconds later, Lin Keqing, who was kneeling in front of me, ran to the bathroom with a look of utter despair. Soon the sound of vomiting came from inside. A few minutes later, she returned to the living room and said to me in an unfriendly tone, "I've done everything I need to do. Where's the food?" I slowly opened the refrigerator door, deliberately letting her see it stuffed with raw meat. At that moment, Lin Keqing suddenly had the thought of knocking me out, but reason finally prevailed. In fact, I had been paying attention to the movement behind me the whole time. Lin Keqing didn't make any move, which made me feel a bit regretful. So close to getting it for free, I took out about 500 grams of pork and threw it in front of Lin Keqing. Lin Keqing stared at the pork on the ground with a grim expression. "You're only giving me this little? That's more than enough. Originally, I only wanted to give you 250 grams, but she didn't know the value of this 500 grams of meat in the apocalypse. She only remembered that when Zhao Dabao married her, he gave her family 388,000 yuan as betrothal gift, and even added her name to the house deed. But now, after talking so much, she only got this pitiful 500 grams of meat. She couldn't accept it for a moment. After all, even Zhao Dabao has never had such treatment." Lin Keqing took a deep breath. Finally, she picked up the pork on the ground and walked out with a cold face. Seeing this, I wasn't angry but rather happy. The more uncomfortable she feels, the more pleasure I get from getting revenge. Then I happily opened the system panel. House and fruits, vegetables to be claimed. Although a 100 square meter house is a bit small, I have a solution. As long as I find another woman with a similar status to Lin Keqing, I can expand it on the basis of the 100 square meters. The only problem now is the design blueprint for the safe house. Fortunately, there might be survivors from the architecture major at Binhai University. It seems I have to go out. Early the next morning, I started collecting supplies. First, room 504 opposite my house. I directly took out a wire and inserted it into the door lock, and opened the door in just a few seconds. Stepping into the room, I heard the sound of chewing coming from the bedroom. I quietly pushed open the bedroom door, only to see a white-haired old man gnawing on a corpse on the bed. So pitiful. As I spoke, I raised the kitchen knife and chopped at the zombie's neck, but this blow didn't cut off its neck directly. Instead, it alerted it. It turned around and pounced on me with claws and fangs bared. I kicked the zombie in the chest, pulled out the kitchen knife and kicked the zombie flying at the same time, then rushed forward and struck a few more times, until the zombie stopped moving. Coming to my senses, I noticed there were 2 gaps in the kitchen knife. After all, it's just a kitchen knife. It's okay for chopping meat, but it's not enough for chopping zombies. It seems I need to find a better weapon. Near noon, I finally finished clearing all 6 rooms on the 5th floor. In total, I killed 3 zombies, found a case of beer, 7 random bottles of medicine, and a bucket of protein powder. Although the harvest was abundant, the sharp kitchen knife was also ruined. But fortunately, I also found a baseball bat. I swung it twice, and it felt quite handy. On the other side, Lin Keqing and her husband also watched, me chopping zombies through the peephole. My frantic appearance made both of them swallow hard. At the same time, they were glad they didn't make a move earlier. Otherwise, they would really have been doomed. It wasn't until they heard the sound of the door closing next door that the 2 of them opened the door and came out. They searched room by room, hoping to find any leftover food. Unfortunately, I had searched very thoroughly. The 2 of them could only return empty-handed. Damn it, is that bastard like a locust? He didn't leave a single edible thing behind. I did find a steak, but it was full of maggots. Zhao Dabao's eyes lit up. "Honey, why don't you go ask him for some more food?" Lin Keqing reluctantly wanted to refuse. "We just ate yesterday. We're not really hungry right now." "Do we really need to go to him so soon?"
We aren't hungry now.
"But we will be sooner or later." "Do you want to wait until he feeds all the food to the zombie before you go ask for some?" Lin Keqing knew he was right, but the thought of having to talk him into it again made her unwilling to go. Seeing this, Zhao Dabao took Lin Keqing's hand affectionately. "Honey, I want to survive with you. We will definitely hold on until the military comes to rescue us." Looking at her husband's pleading eyes, Lin Keqing gritted her teeth. "Fine, I'll go." After Zhao Dabao watched Lin Keqing enter the next room, his expression immediately turned somber. "You pretentious woman. You've already sold yourself once. What's the difference between once and twice?" Zhao Dabao didn't think he had any weird fetishes. He was just being sensible. This is what it means to be a true man who can bend and stretch. As soon as Lin Keqing entered the door, she smelled an alluring aroma. At that moment, I walked into the kitchen and soon came out with an electric rice cooker, filled to the brim with potatoes. I also opened a bottle of beer, sat down on the sofa and ate comfortably. Lin Keqing's mouth watered at the smell, but seeing that I didn't say a word, she could only stand there awkwardly. After taking a few bites, I suddenly spoke up. "I almost forgot about you." As I spoke, I got up and took a plate, scooped some meat onto it. Lin Keqing thought it was for her, just as she happily reached out to take it. I walked past her straight to the sofa. After taking the rag out of Che Xiaoxiao's mouth, she immediately buried her head in the plate and gorged herself frantically. On the other side, Lin Keqing looked somewhat embarrassed. She cleared her throat and changed the subject. Did you clean up the rooms on the 5th floor today? Yes, I'm leaving soon. So I'm collecting some supplies before I go. Upon hearing this, Lin Keqing's eyes widened in shock. What, you're leaving? The outside is full of zombies. Where are you going? I smiled, but didn't answer. Are you reluctant to let me go? Lin Keqing looked furious when she heard that. Who would be reluctant to let you go? I'd rather you die outside. But despite what she said, there was a hint of worry in her eyes. If I left with all the food, she and Zhao Dabao would surely starve to death. Just say it, what do you want from me? I want to trade with you for food. I couldn't help but snort in amusement. I had expected Lin Keqing to come back, but didn't think it would be so soon. But my laughter made Lin Keqing feel mocked, which made her fly into a rage. Will you trade or not? Just give me a straight answer. Fine, I've had enough to eat anyway. It's time to get some exercise. To digest the food? Just a kind reminder. Once I leave, you won't have anyone to trade food with. Do you want to trade more this time? After saying that, I got up and walked straight to the bedroom. Lin Keqing froze when she heard this. She knew what I meant. But what happened yesterday already made her extremely ashamed. But once this bastard left, where else would she get food? Lin Keqing gritted her teeth and made a decision. Time flew by. 4 days later, I had ransacked the entire building. And during these days, Che Xiaoxiao's appetite grew larger and larger. From initially being full with 250 grams of meat, now even after eating 1.25 kilograms of meat, her small belly showed no sign of bulging. If her favorability hadn't been increasing, I really wouldn't want to keep feeding her. Regardless of whether she could understand or not, I threatened her to myself. I've been feeding you for 6 days. If you still dare to bite me, I'll leave you here to fend for yourself. After saying that, I took the rag out of Che Xiaoxiao's mouth. She didn't roar like she did at first. Instead, she opened her mouth and waited to be fed. If you bite me, I won't give you anything to eat. Do you understand? Since you're not talking, I'll take that as a yes. I tentatively reached out my hand to Che Xiaoxiao, but she unceremoniously opened her mouth to bite me. I shouted sharply, "No!" She was stunned by my shout, then tilted her head to look at me. I tentatively reached out my hand again, but Che Xiaoxiao still tried to bite me. This back and forth happened more than a dozen times. Just as I was about to give up, Che Xiaoxiao finally didn't bite down. Instead, she looked at my face, seemingly judging from my expression. Whether this was food for her, I felt a surge of excitement in my heart and shook my head gently at her, and Che Xiaoxiao seemed to understand what I meant. She really didn't bite me. Overjoyed, I took out another piece of meat and handed it to her, and nodded at Che Xiaoxiao. This time, she ate it directly. We repeated this several more times, and each time she waited for my nod before eating, to confirm whether Che Xiaoxiao could only restrain her desire to attack when tied up. I decided to do another experiment. First, I untied the nylon rope on her body, then placed a plate of meat on the coffee table. Che Xiaoxiao staggered to her feet and walked towards me. She first looked at the meat on the table, then at me, and then pointed at the meat on the plate. My heart raced with joy, and I nodded at her. Only then did Che Xiaoxiao pick up the plate and eat. To be honest, her eating habits were still terrible, but it was worth mentioning that, even though Che Xiaoxiao's favorability was only 40, she could already refrain from attacking me. If her favorability reached 100, wouldn't I have an obedient zombie subordinate? This isn't a love system at all. It's clearly a master-servant system. At the same time, on the other side, Zhao Dabao had been on edge these past few days. He had already learned that I was about to leave. Whether it was for the food in my hands or to get revenge on me, he didn't plan to let me leave alive, but he definitely couldn't do it alone. After all, I was someone who could easily take down zombies. So Zhao Dabao began to instigate Lin Keqing. Honey, I don't think we can let that guy next door leave. At the very least, we can't let him leave with the food. Why don't you go borrow food from him again? Then open the door and let me in while he's asleep. Let's take the chance to kill him. Lin Keqing was stunned when she heard this. She didn't understand. Honey, why do you think I can make that man fall asleep? Zhao Dabao grew anxious when he didn't get a response. Will you do it or not? Just say something. Don't tell me you can't bear to hurt him. Lin Keqing quickly said anxiously, Of course not. I'm just thinking about how to make him fall asleep. Zhao Dabao pressed her eagerly. So have you thought of a way yet? He was dying to say, Can't you just sleep with him? Out of guilt, Lin Keqing almost always gave in to Zhao Dabao's requests, so in the end, she nodded. Zhao Dabao immediately perked up when he saw this. Great, as soon as it gets dark, we'll put our plan into action. I'll go prepare first. Watching Zhao Dabao's departing figure, Lin Keqing forced a bitter smile. He didn't even ask what the specific plan was, which means he already knew. On my side, since I planned to leave early the next morning, I decided to go to bed early. But just as I lay down, I heard a knock on the door. I opened the door. With a smile on my face, already hungry again so soon? Lin Keqing seethed with anger when she heard this. She felt the urge to punch me, but she held back, and even put on a coquettish expression. It's not just about being hungry. Come in, I'll move aside. As Lin Keqing walked past me, I raised my hand and slapped her. The jelly-like texture made me sincerely praise. Such great hand feel. Lin Keqing covered her buttocks and stared at me angrily. You have to give me an extra piece of biscuit. Lin Keqing's appearance of daring to be angry but not to speak made me couldn't help but laugh loudly with my head tilted back. Is this what it feels like to act like a scoundrel? It's so satisfying. I didn't feel the slightest sympathy for her. I remembered how this couple treated me in my previous life. This was the retribution they deserved. Lin Keqing lowered her head, with flames of anger flickering in her eyes. Keep laughing. After tonight, we'll see if you can still laugh. A few hours later, Lin Keqing stumbled out while supporting herself against the wall. It was only a dozen steps from the bedroom door, but it took Lin Keqing several minutes to walk it. As soon as she opened the door, Zhao Dabao slipped into the room in a flash. How is it? Is he asleep? Asleep, great. I'll go kill him right now. After saying that, Zhao Dabao gripped the fruit knife in his hand. But he hadn't walked a few steps when he saw a figure standing at the bedroom door. This shocked Zhao Dabao greatly. You bitch! Didn't you say he was asleep? Lin Keqing was also startled, but soon realized something was wrong. This is the zombie that bastard raised. How did it break free from the rope? Honey, what do we do? Maybe we should leave first. Zhao Dabao was having an intense internal struggle at this moment. He was also afraid of zombies, but he knew better that if he missed tonight, he would never get such a good chance again. Moreover, Che Xiaoxiao looked harmless, which gave Zhao Dabao the illusion that he could handle her too. But to be safe, he still said to Lin Keqing, Honey, you distract her attention, and I'll take care of her. Upon hearing this, Lin Keqing trembled violently. Don't worry, I won't let her hurt you. Although he said that Zhao Dabao had actually made up his mind to sacrifice his wife at any time. But Lin Keqing was extremely unwilling. She wasn't willing to give up her life for Zhao Dabao. At this moment, my impatient voice came from the bedroom door. I said, how long are you going to discuss? Hearing this voice, Zhao Dabao and Lin Keqing's hearts beat wildly. You're not asleep? You're making so much noise. Even if I were asleep, I would have been woken up. Looking at the calm smile on my face, Lin Keqing's face was filled with terror. Honey, while the zombie is holding him back. Let's run! You mean her? Under the disbelieving gaze of the two, I raised my hand and rubbed Che Xiaoxiao's head, and Che Xiaoxiao didn't attack me. Instead, she stood obediently and let me touch her. The two were so scared that they wet their pants. How is this possible? It's fine that you don't look like a zombie, but why are your habits completely different from other zombies? Suddenly, Zhao Dabao pushed Lin Keqing forward forcefully, while he himself turned around and ran towards the door. But he hadn't run a few steps before I caught up and knocked him down with a stick. Wait, I have something to say. Please don't kill me. But I didn't waste any words with him. I picked up the fruit knife that had fallen on the ground and stabbed it directly into his heart. Lin Keqing watched this scene. Her courage almost shattered. This was all Zhao Dabao's idea. He's the one who wanted to harm you. It has nothing to do with me. Please forgive me. I swear that from now on, I will serve you like my master. Lin Keqing still had a glimmer of hope in her heart. She thought I would be reluctant to kill her, but unexpectedly I spoke coldly. You don't know you're wrong. You just know you're going to die. After saying that, I stabbed her with the knife. At this moment, Che Xiaoxiao walked over and pointed at the two corpses on the ground. I shook my head. No, this is already spoiled. You'll get diarrhea if you eat it. The next morning at dawn, I took Che Xiaoxiao and left the apartment building on a motorcycle. It's worth mentioning that, along the way, the rumbling engine sound attracted many zombies, but they were too slow to catch up. They could only watch me drive away, upon arriving at Binhai University, to get rid of the large group of zombies behind me. I was about to enter a random building when I suddenly heard someone shout, "Over here!" After a moment of hesitation, I abandoned the motorcycle and ran towards that direction. The person who had shouted earlier saw me coming and quickly stepped aside from the window. I propped myself up on the windowsill with one hand and jumped over into the classroom in one smooth motion. Che Xiaoxiao's body was stiff, and she couldn't climb through windows, so she just stood there blankly by the window. Several enthusiastic male students moved forward to help her, but I pushed them away. "No need, I'll handle it." After speaking, I leaned half my body out the window and clamped my hands under Che Xiaoxiao's armpits. I lifted her in without much effort. At this moment, a boy who looked like a wealthy young master spoke up. "You must be the one my dad sent to rescue us, right?" The boy's name was Du Yangsheng. Relying on his identity as the eldest son of a rich family, he deceived the others, claiming his father would send people to save them. Through this, he had become the leader of this group of survivors. I ignored the hand he stretched out toward me. "Who the hell are you?" "Do I know you?" Du Yangsheng's face immediately darkened. He had said that only to bolster his status in everyone else's minds, but he never expected me to make him lose face like this. To regain his dignity, he started speaking in a leader's tone. "In other words, you're a survivor like us. If that's the case, then you should follow our rules." One of his underlings behind him stepped forward a few paces, trying to take my backpack. I slapped his hand away and stepped back. "What are you doing?" Du Yangsheng put on a righteous expression. "For all of us to survive, please hand over your supplies, and we'll distribute them uniformly." Seeing this, I sneered. "Whether you live or die has nothing to do with me." On hearing this, Du Yangsheng deliberately raised his voice, so everyone could hear. "If everyone was as selfish as you, so many of us would have starved to death long ago. The reason we do this is to use supplies in the most reasonable way." I couldn't stand listening anymore and cut him off directly. "Your life or death has nothing to do with me. I also don't plan to team up with you, so I won't hand over my supplies to you." Du Yangsheng sneered coldly and pointed out the window. "Then I'm sorry. Please leave immediately." But outside the window at this moment, the zombies I had lured over earlier were scrambling to press against the window, drooling. Naturally, I wouldn't agree to leave now. Moreover, I hadn't even achieved the purpose of my trip. There are so many classrooms here. I'll leave naturally after staying for a few days. Regarding me, an unknown person, the students were more willing to listen to Du Yangsheng, so they surrounded me excitedly. "How dare you talk to young Master Du like that? If we hadn't saved you just now, you would have died long ago." "That's right, this is a school. What right do you, an outsider, have to stay in our classroom?" I couldn't help but snort in disdain. "You're lecturing me about reason in the apocalypse? Besides, so what if I force my way into staying? Would these sheltered flowers who've never seen blood dare to fight me, someone who's survived a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood?" Just as the two sides were at a stalemate, a woman wearing a long skirt, with a fresh and refined appearance, walked in. "What's going on here?" Du Yangsheng stepped forward and stood beside her. "Yulan, this person wants to stay here with us. We're just about to kick her out." Su Yulan frowned. "If she wants to stay, let her stay. We have so many empty classrooms here. Why do you have to drive her away? Aren't you just sending her to her death?" Everyone disperse. The students looked at Du Yangsheng hesitantly, only after he nodded. Did everyone disperse? At this moment, Su Yulan's gaze passed over me and fell on Che Xiaoxiao behind me. "Is this your younger sister? She's really beautiful." "Sort of. Hello?" "Little sister, what's your name? And why are your eyes so red?" But her enthusiasm received no response from Che Xiaoxiao. Seeing this, I quickly stepped forward to explain. "She's just wearing colored contact lenses. My sister is a bit introverted and doesn't like to talk. Don't mind it." The other party easily believed my words. After all, there were no zombies that wouldn't actively attack people nowadays. "Then you can stay here for now. Floors 1 to 3 are safe. You can choose any empty classroom. But remember, floors 4 and above are extremely dangerous." Soon it was noon. In front of a classroom marked warehouse, more than a dozen students were lining up. They were all waiting to receive today's food, but most of them only got a few biscuits. As for Du Yangsheng, he was secretly eating chicken legs he'd swindled in the warehouse. But just then, everyone smelled a strong aroma of meat. More than a dozen people abandoned the line and ran downstairs following the scent. At this time, in a classroom on the 2nd floor, I was building a fire to cook. Everyone stared at me with greedy eyes. Seeing this, Du Yangsheng walked into the classroom. Friend, can I trade our food for yours? I refused directly. Your moldy and terrible food not only can't fill one's stomach, but also tastes awful. Du Yangsheng wanted to beg again, but I ignored him completely and walked out of the classroom with a bowl of meat. Want to eat it? Everyone nodded eagerly. I cleared my throat. Which one of you is majoring in architecture? As soon as these words were spoken, everyone fell silent. After a long time, someone finally spoke up. The architecture department's teaching building is in another building. Most likely everyone there has already turned into zombies. Hearing this, I was greatly disappointed. The main purpose of my trip here was to find someone who could design blueprints for a safe house. It seemed that was impossible now. But just then, a small voice came from the crowd. I'm majoring in architecture. Everyone turned to look in the direction of the voice and saw that the speaker was a girl with a braid and black-framed glasses who looked a bit plain. Being stared at by so many eyes, the girl couldn't help but feel nervous. I looked at this girl with skeptical eyes. Her timid appearance made it hard not to suspect she was trying to cheat for food and drink. Seemingly sensing the disdain in my eyes, the braided girl mustered up her courage. My name is Chile. I'm ranked first in my major. If you don't believe me, you can ask the other students. I believe you. But can you draw blueprints? The other party suddenly looked up and looked at me in surprise. Naturally, I didn't believe her for no reason. But because of the system panel that appeared in front of me, name Chilu Identity Architecture Major. Student, favorability, 0. Hand-holding reward, solar power generation equipment. Sewage purification device. First kiss reward, a set of monitoring systems. Full strategy reward, 4 automatic turrets, and 100 rounds of turret-specific ammunition. Wow, each reward is more useful than the last. If I could get all of them, it would greatly improve the safety house. Hearing my question, Keelik nodded without hesitation. Yes, I can. Then can you draw some more special architectural design blueprints? Tilo had a big question mark in her small head. But to get food, she still agreed. Good, I'll hire you. The salary is 1 bowl of meat and 1 bowl of vegetables every day. Sheiluk had thought getting even a little meat would be good, but she never expected there would also be vegetables. So she happily accepted the job. When some people are happy, others are unhappy. Du Yangsheng gave me a fierce glare, then left with his underlings. When they reached the stairs, an underling named Zhang Wei first glanced left and right, confirmed no one was following, then said, Young Master Du, this guy is too arrogant. Should we kill him? Du Yangsheng thought for a moment. No, you saw how skilled he was at dealing with zombies during the day. We're no match for him. At this moment, no one wanted to teach me a lesson more than Du Yangsheng, but unfortunately his strength didn't allow it. Zhang Wei, the underling, wanted to say something more, but Du Yangsheng had already walked away. Zhang Wei looked at his back and snorted coldly. You get to eat and drink to your heart's content. Looking down on his food. But I'm still starving. No way. I have to find a way to get his supplies. On the other side, after Keeley finished her meal, she licked her lips reluctantly. Seeing this, I asked, Want some more? Kilo shook her head. No, thanks. I've already eaten my reward for today. If I use up tomorrow's reward in advance, I'll have to go hungry tomorrow. These words made me pause slightly. Then let's get to work. After Chilo agreed, she immediately got into work mode. She opened her backpack and took out a laptop from it. Tell me your requirements. I want a blueprint for a safe house with a floor area of 100 square meters. The safety house must be highly durable. It also needs a warehouse, escape route, rest area, and bathroom. 100 square meters is still too small for a safe house. Because we also need to reserve space for planting and breeding areas, right? I looked at Chila in surprise. This girl seemed more thoughtful than I had imagined. Good point. So you also need to leave room for expansion. I understand. I'll start working right now. Hearing this, I excitedly asked her, how long will it take to finish the blueprint? About 10 days or so. It will take another 2 or 3 days if revisions are needed later. I couldn't help but frown. According to my memories from the previous life, a cold wave would hit in more than a week. If we couldn't move into the safe house before then, we would have to endure the cold in this drafty teaching building. I need you to finish the blueprint within 7 days. Do you have the confidence? Keela hesitated at first, but soon her eyes became firm. No problem, 7 days. Just 7 days. Soon after, I took Che Xiaoxiao to the rooftop to find a suitable location to build the safe house. Soon, I found an open space behind the school. With the school buildings shielding it in front and a mountain behind it, it would be hard to find unless someone entered the school. Moreover, there were few zombies here. I picked up my baseball bat, ready to go over and clear out the zombies. I climbed out of the window on the first floor and glanced around. There were 4 zombies wandering nearby. Even though I carefully knocked one zombie to death, I still attracted the other 3. The one running at the front was wearing a t-shirt and seemed to have been a PE student when alive. Unlike other slow-moving zombies, the PE student zombie ran much faster. I remained calm, dodged with a sidestep, and then struck it with my bat, as expected of a PE student. The zombie could still move after taking that hit. I immediately struck it again. At this time, the 3rd zombie was also close at hand. I swept my leg and tripped it to the ground, then struck it twice in a row. At this moment, the last zombie pounced at me. I didn't have time to get up and was pushed to the ground. The zombie's bloodthirsty mouth bit down on my baseball bat. The 2 of us struggled against each other. I cursed and tried to throw the zombie off me, but failed several times. When I was gathering all my strength for another attempt, a slender little hand suddenly grabbed the zombie's neck and threw it out. I turned my head in surprise and found that the owner of the little hand was actually Che Xiaoxiao. At this time, the zombie that had been thrown out charged again. Before I could get up, Che Xiaoxiao instantly grabbed the zombie's neck and twisted it hard. A crack sound was heard, and the zombie fell to the ground with its head tilted. Wow! I never expected Che Xiaoxiao, who looked so delicate, to have such great strength. It seems my guess was correct. She has indeed evolved. Earlier, when I watched Che Xiaoxiao's skin change, from pale gray to pink, little by little, I had this suspicion, and now it was finally confirmed. I opened the system panel to check, and found that Che Xiaoxiao's favorability had risen to 50. She's really much better than ordinary women. No need for luxury bags or cosmetics. As long as there's food, she can even protect me. Che Xiaoxiao, under my gaze, had no expression on her face, as if she wasn't the one who had just acted. After resting for a while, I continued the zombie clearing work. Che Xiaoxiao would only help when I was in life-threatening danger. Otherwise, she just watched silently. It seems that to get her to work for me, I need to continue increasing her favorability. It wasn't until dusk that I set off back to the teaching building. I went to the men's restroom, preparing to take off my clothes and wash off the bloodstains, when I saw Che Xiaoxiao follow me in. This was the first time I had taken a shower in front of a woman. Even though it felt awkward, she was just a zombie after all. Soon after finishing my shower, I was about to put on clean clothes when I suddenly looked at Che Xiaoxiao. I didn't know if zombies sweat, but from the earlier battle, her body was also covered in a lot of blood. So I decided to give her a wash too. At this time, Che Xiaoxiao was staring straight at me. Even though I knew she had no concept of gender differences, my face still blushed a little. I gritted my teeth and quickly undressed Che Xiaoxiao. Her skin, white as snow, almost blinded my eyes. Just looking at it made my blood boil. I quickly told myself in my heart, she's a zombie. After calming down a bit, I quickly started washing her. 1 minute later, the bath was finished. I looked up and made eye contact with Che Xiaoxiao. Okay, you should feel more comfortable now. But she just stared straight into my eyes. Unlike before, there seemed to be emotional fluctuations in Che Xiaoxiao's eyes. I didn't know if it was just my illusion, so I leaned closer to observe carefully. But in the next second, Che Xiaoxiao's body suddenly leaned forward. I never expected she would attack me, so I had no time to dodge. But unlike the frantic biting I imagined, a soft and slightly sweet touch came from my lips. My eyes were filled with astonishment. It wasn't until the system's voice sounded that I came back to my senses. Congratulations, host, for obtaining the first kiss reward. After the zombie virus vaccine is developed, you will be immune to zombie virus infection. Looking at Che Xiaoxiao's favorability on the system panel, I was shocked again. I never expected that just a simple bath would increase her favorability to 60, directly reaching the like stage. I closed the system panel and asked Che Xiaoxiao, "Do you have emotions now?" Che Xiaoxiao tilted her head, looking a bit cute and confused. Obviously, she couldn't understand such a complex term, so I changed to a simpler question. "Can you understand what I'm saying?" This time she nodded. I tried asking a few more questions, but when faced with slightly more complex ones, Shui Xiaoxiao would fall into a daze. In that case, it was still not feasible to let Che Xiaoxiao act alone. But as her favorability increased, maybe she could fully recover human emotions, and by then she would definitely understand more complex instructions. But for now, we should first get out of the bathroom. Back in the classroom. By asking Chile, I learned the location of the mini fire station. It was right next to the gate of the administrative building. But to get there, we had to go around the zombies on the playground. I silently memorized this information, then told Chile to go back and rest. Soon, only Che Xiaoxiao and I were left in the classroom. I took out the zombie virus vaccine and injected it directly into my arm, pushing the entire tube of medicine in. This way, the threat of zombies to me was even smaller. At this moment, on the third floor of the teaching building, two figures sneaked toward the stairs. One of them looked worried. Will we really be okay doing this? The other said disdainfully. What could go wrong? No matter how good he is at fighting, there are only two of them. And one of them is a little girl. Manhwa, are you even afraid of a girl? This person was exactly Zhang Wei. Soon, the two of them sneaked to the classroom where I was. Both the front and back doors of the classroom were locked from the inside. But this couldn't stop. Zhang Wei, who had rich experience in skipping classes, he pressed against the window, fiddled with it a bit and pushed it open, then jumped in with a flip. Menghai wasn't as agile as Zhang Wei. First, he put one foot over the window and straddled it. But just as he was about to put the other foot over, he noticed a short figure in the classroom, sitting up straight. He was so scared that he stammered, "Zhang Wei, someone's here!" Zhang Wei instantly became alert. But it was too late. He only felt a sharp pain in his chest. A slender arm had pierced through it. Menghai was scared out of his wits and turned to run away. But he was also pierced through the chest by a hand. Che Xiaoxiao looked at the blood on her hands and suddenly felt a wave of hunger surge in her mind, urging her to lick the blood. But in the end, she controlled herself. The next day, when I woke up, I saw Che Xiaoxiao excitedly showing me the blood on her hands. My eyes narrowed. What's going on? Che Xiaoxiao then looked toward the window. I followed her gaze and saw one person lying on the ground and another leaning against the window, both with big holes in their chests. There was also a nunchaku on the ground next to the corpses. Seeing this, I immediately understood everything. At this moment, Che Xiaoxiao grabbed my hand and shook it back and forth. I immediately understood what she meant. So I took her to the bathroom to wash the blood off her hands. Back in the classroom, I had just thrown the two corpses out of the window. When Chilo came over with a laptop, she nodded at me in greeting, then walked to the desk and started working. After a while longer, Du Yangsheng's annoying face appeared at the classroom door. Where's Zhang Wei? What did you do to him? Seeing this, I looked calm. Who is Zhang Wei? Don't play dumb with me. He's the one with green-dyed hair. I suddenly realized, so one of the two people last night was named Zhang Wei, but I still pretended to know nothing and replied, I have no idea what you're talking about. And I don't know any Zhang Wei. Do you think I'll believe you? He didn't go missing earlier or later, but just after you arrived. Who else could it be if not you? Why are you barking? If someone's missing, go look for them. Stop yapping here! The sound of their argument attracted many students to gather around and watch, including Su Yulan. She asked in confusion, What's wrong? What happened? Du Yangsheng's tone softened slightly. Chongwei and Menghai are missing. After thinking for a moment, Su Yulan said, Could they have gone out to look for supplies? Impossible, without my order. They wouldn't dare leave without permission. I took the chance to interject, Are you so sure they'll listen to you? Maybe they've long disliked you, and ran away while you were asleep. Du Yangsheng's eyes turned red with anger, and he wished he could attack me on the spot. But unfortunately, he couldn't beat me. Su Yulan wanted to ease the tense atmosphere. Maybe they went out for something, and we'll be back later. Let's be patient and wait. I'll trust Yulan this time. But if they don't come back by tonight, I'll definitely get an explanation from you. After throwing down the harsh words, Du Yangsheng left with a cold face. When passing the warehouse, the bespectacled man in charge of the warehouse reported to him, Young Master Du, the food in the warehouse is almost gone. Then send someone to look for more. All right, I'll arrange it right away. Just as the bespectacled man was about to leave, he was stopped by Du Yangsheng. Wait, I'll give you a new list. Arrange according to what's on it. And the names on the list were all students who didn't obey his orders. Such people were just troublemakers in the student camp. It would be better to arrange for them to go out and look for supplies. If they died outside, it would just reduce the food consumption. It was simply killing two birds with one stone. Thinking of this, a pleased smile gradually appeared on Du Yangsheng's face. At this rate, in a few days, only the students who obeyed me unconditionally would remain in the camp, and then he could teach that guy who had made him lose all face a lesson. Suddenly, a charming voice came from not far away. "Young Master Du, so this is where you are. You had me looking for you everywhere." Du Yangsheng looked up and saw Zhang Miao Miao dressed gorgeously. Walking over, "Why are you here? Where's Yulan? Why isn't she with you?" "One of the classmates has a fever. She's helping take care of them." Hearing this, Du Yangsheng looked lewd. If Su Yulan is temporarily unavailable, then couldn't I take this chance to relieve some stress? Thinking this, Du Yangsheng's gaze toward Zhang Miao Miao gradually became abnormal. "Did you need something from me?" Zhang Miao Miao bit her lip. "Can I come find you if there's nothing wrong?" "Of course you can. Coincidentally, I was just thinking about you too." A trace of shyness flashed in Zhang Miao Miao's eyes. "Oh, stop it. You're making me embarrassed." Seeing this, Du Yangsheng felt a heat in his lower abdomen, a surge of inexplicable desire welling up. He impatiently reached out to wrap his arm around Zhang Miao Miao's waist, but she dodged it. "Young Master Du, aren't you afraid of being seen by others?" "I'm so shy." Hearing this, Du Yangsheng laughed. "How about this? I was just going to check the supplies in the warehouse. Why don't you come with me?" Shou Miao Miao nodded repeatedly. Okay. The two walked into the warehouse one after another. Du Yangsheng, who was left behind, locked the door. He couldn't wait to kiss Zhang Miao Miao, but Zhang Miao Miao dodged out of the way in a flash. Scratching his head in anxiety, Du Yangsheng asked, "What's wrong again?" First, Zhang Miao Miao glanced at the supplies in the warehouse. Then she said as if nothing had happened, "Young Master Du, it looks like we don't have much food left." Du Yangsheng replied perfunctorily, "It's enough to last until my dad's people come." As he spoke, he started taking off his clothes. "Cut the crap. Let's get started. It won't be good if someone finds us later." Zhang Miao Miao chuckled and said, "Young Master Du, can your dad really spare the effort to save you?" Du Yangsheng froze suddenly and asked, "What do you mean?" But Zhang Miao Miao suddenly changed the subject. She covered her mouth and giggled. "Oh, I was just guessing randomly. Don't be too nervous. By the way, I just remembered. Yulin asked me to help her. Goodbye, young Master Du." After saying that, Zhang Miao Miao walked out, leaving Du Yangsheng standing there awkwardly alone. He looked just like a clown. On the other side, while I was cleaning up zombies, I suddenly heard someone shouting for help in the distance. I held my baseball bat and looked in that direction. I saw by the window of a building, a woman was yelling loudly at me. This made me can't help but complain. This damn woman is asking for death. Shouting loudly in the post-apocalyptic world is a really stupid thing to do. I knew she was trying to get my attention, but I had no intention of saving her at all. However, the woman's shouts helped me by accident. The zombies in the open area heard the noise and slowly walked towards the direction of the sound. I said to Che Xiao, "Let's go. We can call it a day early today." But this made the woman in the building panic. Where are they going? Didn't they hear my cry for help? Seeing more and more zombies gathering around, she had to shut her mouth. She squatted down and started crying. Back in the classroom, I asked Chile, "Did you hear a woman shouting just now?" Keelik nodded and said, "Yes. I think it was Teacher Ning." "Teacher Ning? Do you know her?" "She's the school doctor of our school." I thought for a moment. "You want me to go save her?" My question made Chilo pause for a moment while holding the mouse. "I just think she might be useful to you," she said. "By the way, that building is the administrative building." "I see," I said. After saying that, I took Che Xiao to take a bath. 2 more days passed. The number of student survivors decreased again. When I first arrived, there were about 50 surviving students. Now there are probably only more than 30 left. At the same time, a sense of panic began to spread. That day, I pointed at Che Xiao and said to Chile, "Help me keep an eye on her. I'm going to the administrative building. It's inconvenient to take her with me." The reason I waited 2 days to go save her was to make Ning Yao completely desperate. That way, when I go to save her, she will be extremely grateful to me. Half an hour later, I arrived at my destination. However, there were more than a dozen zombies wandering around here. It was impossible to take them all out with a surprise attack from behind, so I had to finish it quickly. I took a deep breath and rushed towards the mini fire station. The zombies immediately noticed me and roared as they surrounded me. Seeing this, I ran as fast as I could and reached the mini fire station. Before the zombies could surround me, I took 2 walkie-talkies, a fire axe, and an escape rope, and packed them all up to take away. Just as I was focused on searching for supplies, I didn't expect that. At that moment, the zombies were only 3 meters away from me. Luckily, I reacted quickly and hurried into the administrative building. Inside the bathroom on the 3rd floor, Ningyao was already a bit disoriented. In her dazed state, she faintly heard a loud bang as a door was knocked open. Then a man's voice came. "Is she dead? What a pity I'm too late." Ningyao opened her eyes suddenly and shouted with all her strength, "I'm still alive. Please save me." I threw her a baseball bat and asked, "Can you still move? If you want to live, hold on to the weapon properly." Ningyao gritted her teeth, leaned against the wall, and stood up. "I can do it," she said. I took Ningyao out of the room and saw a zombie walking towards us. I stepped forward a few steps and chopped the axe at the zombie's head. With just one hit, the zombie stopped moving. Seeing this, I couldn't help but sigh. This axe is really easy to use. Ningyu behind me was shocked. How could he kill zombies so easily and casually, she thought. I had already walked to the stairs. Before she came to her senses, she hurried to follow me. There were many zombies on the stairs, all of which had followed me into the administrative building. Earlier, the terrain outside was too open. If I had been surrounded, I would have had to face attacks from all directions at the same time. But now there was only one staircase, so only one zombie could attack me at a time. Naturally, I felt very confident. Plus, since I was on higher ground, I could easily chop at the zombies' heads and necks. In just a few minutes, the stairs were covered with zombie corpses. Ningyao was stunned again, and my image in her heart became even taller and more sacred. But at that moment, her ankle was suddenly grabbed. She looked down and saw, at her feet, a female zombie with half of its face bitten off. Immediately, Ningyao was so scared that she couldn't move, her whole body trembling like a machine gun. Her eyes were also tearful, but I stood aside and did nothing. "Aren't you going to hit her with the baseball bat?" I asked. "Do you want to keep it for use at night?" My words made Ningyao's face turn red with embarrassment. She lifted the baseball bat over her head, closed her eyes, and swung it down hard. I watched all this coldly. I had intentionally let this zombie slip through. I just wanted to use this most cruel, yet most direct way to help Ningyao grow quickly. I nodded and said, "Good job." After receiving my approval, Ningyo felt an unprecedented joy. Soon after, Shilu stood by the window and said excitedly, "You're back!" Che Xiaoxiao stood beside her, her expressionless face showing no emotion at all, but her eyes kept following the figure in the distance. There were also many students who had been attracted here, including Zhang Miao Miao, who was staring outside with bright eyes at this moment. When I arrived at the window with Ningyao, Kile was just about to go up and open the window, but Zhang Miao Miao beat her to it. She pushed open the window and stretched out her hand to me, but I ignored her and climbed in through the window directly. However, Ningyao took Zhang Miao Miao's hand and climbed in with difficulty. After standing firm, Ningyao said, "Thank you." Zhang Miao Miao's smile looked a little forced. "You're welcome, Teacher Ning." "Welcome to join us," she said. The other students swarmed around Ningyao, shouting and talking all at once. It was obvious that Ningyao was quite popular among the students. I ignored the noisy crowd and took Che Xiaoxiao upstairs. "Wait for me." When Ningyao saw me leaving, she left the students behind and trotted to follow me. The students looked at each other in confusion, wondering why Teacher Ning had left them and run off. At this moment, 4 women on the 2nd floor appeared at the door of my classroom at the same time. Tilo pushed up her glasses and looked at the other 3 women. Among the 4, only she had a legitimate reason to be here. The other 3 didn't even know what they were doing here. When I saw the 4 women at the door, I was also stunned for a moment, but I quickly recovered. I lifted the lid of the pot, and a strong aroma filled the entire classroom. When the 4 women smelled this scent, they all couldn't help but swallow. I first served a bowl for myself and Che Xiaoxiao, then served another bowl and handed it to Chile. "As Kile ate." She glanced at the others with a proud little look in her eyes. Ningyao had been hungry for days, and had only held on until now with sheer willpower. So when she smelled the scent, her reaction was the most embarrassing. Her saliva was almost streaming like a river. Even so, she forced herself to thank me. "Thank you for saving me." Suddenly, a system panel appeared in front of me. Target name, Ning Yao. Identity, school doctor. Affinity, 50, hand holding. Reward, medical kit. Medical skill manual. First kiss. Reward, zombie virus vaccine. Complete strategy. Unlocks reward, medical room, and supporting medical equipment. Seeing this, the corner of my mouth curled up in satisfaction. It seemed I was right to ignore her earlier. Her affinity had already soared to 50. I turned to Ning Yao and asked, "Want some?" Ning Yao nodded honestly. "Yes." "Desperately, work for me. And I can give you the same treatment as her. 1 bowl of meat and 1 bowl of vegetables a day." Tila, who was enjoying her meal beside us, heard this, and suddenly felt the meat in her bowl didn't taste as good anymore. Ning Yao, however, agreed without hesitation. "No problem." I then served her a bowl, and she immediately wolfed it down. It was clear she was really starving. I then turned my gaze to the remaining 2 women. Target name, Su Yulin. Identity, art student. Pianist on affinity. 0, hand-holding. Unlocks reward, piano skills. First kiss. Reward, complete piano score collection. Complete strategy. Unlocks reward, pianoed artistic talent. Target name, Zhang Miao Miao. Identity, materialistic woman. Student, Yar affinity. 10, hand-holding. Unlocks reward, 1 car. First kiss, reward, 100 square meter apartment. Complete strategy. Unlocks reward, 1,000 square meter apartment. After asking the system in my mind, I learned that the rewarded car could be any model of my choice, from Geely M Grand Ferrari to off-road vehicles, heavy trucks, and even tanks. Additionally, the 100 square meter apartment was pretty good too. It could double the area of my safe house. It seemed Zhang Miao Miao could still be useful. As for Su Yulin's rewards, they were rather useless. Zhang Miao Miao sharply noticed the change in my gaze. She tossed her hair and said in a coquettish voice, "Excuse me, can I work for you too?" When Chilo beside her heard this, she immediately got goosebumps all over. She felt sick to her stomach, but she didn't think Zhang Miao Miao's flirtation would work. After all, in her impression, I only took in people who were useful to me. But to her surprise, I nodded and agreed directly. Sure, the pay is the same as the 2 of them. Shilo's eyes widened instantly. What can Zhang Miao Miao do? Why does she deserve the same treatment as me? At this moment, Zhang Miao Miao took the bowl I handed her, and her fingers seemed to accidentally brush against mine. She even threw me a coquettish glance. "Thank you, boss." A pot of meat made 3 beautiful women work for me. Who would have dared to imagine that before? I looked at Su Yulan, the last one left. Before I could speak, she said herself, "I'm not here to find a job. I want to ask you, do you have any extra food to share with the other students?" I smiled playfully. "Do you think in this world now, anyone would think they have too much food?" Su Yulan wanted to say something but held back. She knew her request was too much. But the students had run out of food. Seeing me risk so much to save Ning Yao back, she naively thought I was a good person. "All right, if there's nothing else, you can leave now." Seeing me say this, Su Yulan had no reason to stay any longer. She hung her head and walked out of the classroom. Watching her lonely back, Zhang Miao Miao, who was her best friend, muttered to herself, "She's still so naive." After finishing the meal, I turned to Chilo and asked, "How's the progress on the safe house design drawings?" "They're almost done. Only the final review and revisions are left. Do you want to take a look?" As Chilo spoke, she carried her laptop over to me. On the screen was a floor plan, with rooms like a rest area and warehouse marked on it. Even the ventilation, water pipes, and electrical circuits were drawn, along with dimensions and specifications labeled. Seeing this, I looked satisfied. No need for revisions. Finish the final touches by tomorrow. I knew that even though my approval meant her work was recognized, Keely couldn't feel happy. In fact, she felt a faint sense of loss. Also, starting tomorrow, I need you to expand on the existing design. Another 100 square meters. It needs to include a planting area, a livestock area, and a prison. As for the timeline, within half a month. When Chilo heard this, she suddenly looked up. All this time, she had been worried that once she finished the design drawings, she would lose her use value and be abandoned without mercy. This worry even made her want to delay the work progress. But now my words undoubtedly put her at ease. At least she wouldn't be abandoned anytime soon. After saying this, I turned to Zhang Miao Miao. Come with me. I need to explain your job duties to you. Zhang Miao Miao's heart skipped a beat, but she still put on a nice smile. Boss, you just got back. Do you want to rest first? Sheila already disliked Zhang Miao Miao. and she was eager to take on more work. But now Zhang Miao Miao was trying to shirk it. Boss, if she doesn't want to do it, there are plenty of people who will. Let me do it! When Zhang Miao Miao heard this, she quickly nodded. Yes, yes. Boss, let her do it! I'll get ready first. I shook my head. No. Only you can do this job. Zhang Miao Miao knew she couldn't escape this time, so she resigned herself to following behind me. At this moment, Ning Yao asked anxiously, What about me? What should I do? There will be a time for you to contribute later. For now, help me keep an eye on Che Xiaoxiao. Don't let her follow us. After the two of us left, Keela looked at Ning Yao unhappily. Teacher Ning. What kind of job is it that only Zhang Miao Miao can do? But I can't? Keela had never been in a relationship, so she completely didn't understand the undercurrent between me and Zhang Miao Miao. But Ning Yao couldn't explain it too clearly either, so she just laughed and explained to Chile, Everyone has their own strengths. Maybe Zhang Miao Miao has her own advantages. Hearing this, Chila sighed and didn't ask any more questions. But Ning Yao muttered to herself, Why did he choose Zhang Miao Miao instead of me? In terms of figure and looks, I clearly have the upper hand. Could it be that he thinks I'm too old? When she came to her senses, Ning Yao realized Che Xiaoxiao was gone. This made her panic immediately. Where's Che Xiaoxiao? Chilo, did you see where she went? This is the first job he assigned to me. I don't want to mess it up. Ning Yao had just arrived, so she didn't understand Che Xiaoxiao, but Sheila knew her very well. Che Xiaoxiao was a little shadow who followed me everywhere, but Chilo didn't tell Ning Yao the truth. Instead, she replied perfunctorily, She probably went to the bathroom. Don't worry, she'll be back soon. Inside the bathroom on the second floor, I was personally experiencing Zhang Miao Miao's strengths, and she was also exploring my special skills. Just as I was about to finish the work handover, the left door was suddenly smashed open with great force. I jolted all over and accidentally spat out the confidential clause. Zhang Miao Miao, who hadn't signed the confidentiality agreement, was so shocked that she started coughing. Looking at Che Xiaoxiao, who walked in, cold sweat broke out all over my body. Why are you here? Che Xiaoxiao looked at Zhang Miao Miao, especially noticing the way she wiped her mouth. For the first time, anger appeared in Che Xiaoxiao's eyes. She was even so angry that she opened her mouth to speak. I want what she ate too! Seeing this, I was shocked. You can talk? But at this moment, Che Xiaoxiao seemed to be possessed by Einstein. Her mind was surprisingly sharp. She wasn't distracted by the change of subject. Her intuition told her that I was secretly giving Zhang Miao Miao delicious food, so Che Xiaoxiao stepped forward a few steps and grabbed my pants. Seeing that my pants were about to be torn, I had to say to Che Xiaoxiao, all right, I'll give it to you. But next time, Che Xiaoxiao stopped what she was doing. Her eyes stared straight at me. I said seriously, I promise. Next time for sure. While I was tangled with Che Xiaoxiao, Zhang Miao Miao walked over to the sink, rinsed her mouth, and secretly felt grateful that Che Xiaoxiao had appeared just in time. Otherwise, she would have had to endure another 2.5 hours of torment. The next day, Shili finally finished the safe house design drawings. I called everyone over and said, pack up. We're moving? Moving? Where to? Zhang Miao Miao wondered if I had gone crazy. The outside is full of zombies. Where can we even move to? Don't ask questions you shouldn't, I said. Pack your things and follow me. Even after hearing this, Zhang Miao Miao looked at the others, hoping they would persuade me. After all, in her eyes, going outside was no different from courting death. But Chile was on bad terms with her, so there was no way she would help. As for Che Xiaoxiao, she would only follow right behind me. Her last hope was Ning Yao, but Ning Yao remained silent. She chose to trust me unconditionally. Zhang Miao Miao couldn't help but frown. Am I the only one here with a brain? I noticed her hesitation and said, You can also choose to stay here. I already got the first 2 tiers of rewards anyway. It doesn't really matter to me whether you come with me or not. Of course I'll follow you, Zhang Miao Miao said quickly. She was smart enough to know that staying here would definitely lead to a miserable end for her. It was better to follow me. Our commotion soon attracted the attention of others. They whispered among themselves, Where are these people going? Are they really going outside? Good riddance. I've had enough of them anyway. Su Yulan was also in the crowd. Listening to her classmates' conversations, she frowned. Even though I had rejected her yesterday and spoken harshly to her, she couldn't just watch us go to our deaths. So she stepped out of the crowd and stopped me. Where are you going? Away from here, I replied. After all, you don't welcome us here. Do you? My rhetorical question left Suyulan speechless for a moment. She was about to say something, when a voice came from behind. That's right, we really don't welcome you. But the others can stay. Teacher Ning, you're the school doctor. Stay with us. We need you. Du Yangsheng clearly knew how important doctors were, so he tried to morally blackmail Ning Yao using the students. I was furious. This bastard is trying to poach someone from me. But before I could speak, Ning Yao stepped forward and said, There's no medicine here at all. Staying won't do any good. I'd better leave. But you're a teacher, Du Yangsheng argued. Even if you do nothing, we'll all feel safer with you here. Du Yangsheng tried to persuade her further, but Ning Yao didn't waver at all. She was determined to leave with me. Seeing that he couldn't persuade Ning Yao, Du Yangsheng didn't bother trying to keep the others either, in his eyes. Apart from Ning Yao, who was somewhat useful, Qilo and Zhang Miao were just dead weight. Stop wasting time, let's go, I said. With that, I turned and walked away. The other women all followed closely behind. Since the zombie crisis broke out, this was the first time Zhang Miao had left the teaching building. She looked around nervously, ready to run at any moment, but to her slight relief, there were no living zombies here, only zombie corpses everywhere. When we reached the open space behind the school, I stopped. Zhang Miao panicked and said, Why are we stopping? There aren't many zombies right now. Let's keep going. We're here, I said. Here, she exclaimed. How can we live in this desolate place? Has he really gone crazy? I should have never followed him out, she thought. I ignored what Zhang Miao was thinking. My mind was now fully focused on the system. System, extract the real estate reward. Detected design drawing, build according to the drawing. With a single thought, a steel fortress suddenly appeared out of thin air, on the originally empty ground. Seeing this, everyone was so shocked that their mouths hung open. Silo was the first to recognize that the building structure was exactly as she had drawn in the blueprint. She looked at me in shock, about to say something, but I cut her off directly. No need to ask so many questions. You just need to know that I can keep you alive. Zhang Miao completely changed her previous negative attitude. She was so ecstatic inside that she wanted to offer herself to me on the spot. I walked toward the safe house. The safe house's door was also made of titanium alloy, with an electronic fingerprint lock next to it. After scanning my own fingerprint, I also scanned Che Xiaoxiao's. As for Ning Yao and Qila, I would add their fingerprints once their affinity reached 60. And Zhang Miao, she was scheming and had too many tricks up her sleeve. Her affinity would need to reach at least 80 first. The titanium alloy door opened automatically, and I let everyone inside. Due to its limited area, the safe house only had 1 living room, 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and 1 warehouse. However, the system generously provided furniture, and even equipped it with a diesel generator. Unfortunately, only 1 barrel of diesel was given. After the women came in, they curiously looked around, letting out exclamations from time to time. Oh my God, there's even a bathtub in the bathroom. And hot water! This big warehouse even has a refrigeration function. So nice, oh my God. There are beds in the bedrooms. Even the living room has a sofa. Listening to their words, I felt indescribably happy. And this was just the beginning. As long as I kept completing the system tasks well, my safe house would keep getting bigger, and it would have more and more functions. At this moment, Zhang Miao suggested, let's assign the rooms. The boss can have a room to himself. Qilo and I can share one. Teacher Ning and Che Xiaoxiao can share the other. As soon as she finished speaking, Qilo immediately objected, I don't want to share a room with you. I want to share with Teacher Ning. Che Xiaoxiao didn't say anything. She just silently pulled on my sleeve. Fine then, Zhang Miao said. The boss can share a room with his sister. Qilo and Teacher Ning can share one, and I'll have one to myself. But Qilo still disagreed. Why do you get a room to yourself? You saw how it is with the boss and his sister, Zhang Miao argued. And you refuse to share with me. So I have to have my own room. I have a better idea, Qilo said. You can sleep in the living room. Qilo, are you deliberately picking a fight with me? Zhang Miao snapped. Seeing that they were about to argue, I raised my voice. We'll go with Zhang Miao's arrangement. When I spoke, the two of them stopped bickering. Qilo pulled Ning Yao into their room to start arranging things. While Zhang Miao also closed her room door, no one knew what she was up to inside. I had originally planned to look around the safe house, but Che Xiaoxiao kept pulling me, refusing to let me leave. She pointed at the last remaining room and said, "Sleep." I had wanted to refuse, but I couldn't. Che Xiaoxiao's big eyes were too hard to resist. Besides, I had been on edge for so many days. I really did need to relax and rest. I lay down on the bed, and Che Xiaoxiao snuggled up next to me, nuzzling into my arms like a little caterpillar. I had to roll over and hug her. Before long, I fell fast asleep. As a zombie, Che Xiaoxiao didn't feel tired at all. She just buried her face in my chest, feeling the beat of my heart. At the same time, some students at the teaching building camp noticed a building had suddenly appeared out of nowhere and immediately reported it to Du Yangsheng. Du Yangsheng was confused. He had no memory of any strange house behind the school, yet somehow it felt like the house had always been there. Even though he hadn't seen the safe house materialize with his own eyes, the system's influence made him subconsciously think the house being there was perfectly reasonable. Du Yangsheng turned to the student who had reported it. "You said you saw that outsider and his group go into that house?" "Yes, I saw it with my own eyes," the student replied. He hadn't seen how the house appeared either. It was just by chance that he'd seen me take my group inside, so he'd hurried to report it to Du Yangsheng. "Brother Du, that house looks pretty safe," another student said. "Why don't we go take it over?" "Are you an idiot?" Du Yangsheng snapped. "We have this big building, isn't that safe enough? Why would we give up this huge space to cram into a tiny house? Is your brain broken or mine?" When I woke up, it was already 5 o'clock in the afternoon. In my dazed state, I felt a small hand messing with my lower body. I was so shocked that I woke up instantly and immediately grabbed the mischievous hand. "What are you doing?" Che Xiaoxiao blinked her eyes but said nothing. I pinched her chubby little cheeks. "Don't play dumb with me. I know you understand." "Hungry," she finally mumbled. That's when I realized Che Xiaoxiao was hungry, but she didn't want to wake me up. So she decided to take matters into her own hands to get food. Unfortunately, she had no idea how to prepare it, and had fumbled around for ages without success. Okay, I'll get up and make you something to eat right now." When I got to the living room, the other three were already there. As soon as Keela saw me, she called out, "Boss, come look at the monitors, quick." The monitor screen showed the scene outside the safe house. Tiny white flakes were falling, but they disappeared again quickly. Keela stared at the monitor in confusion. "Is that catkins?" "No, it's snow," Ningyao said. As someone from the north, she immediately recognized what the little white flakes were. But the other two, who were locals, couldn't believe it. "But this is Binhai City. I've never seen snow here since I was born. And it's the end of July. How can it snow in summer?" Only I knew why this bizarre phenomenon was happening. The second natural disaster of the apocalypse had finally arrived. From what I remembered of my past life, the snow would last for 3 days, and the temperature would drop lower and lower. By the third day, even a puddle of pee would freeze into an icicle. "No, I can't just sit around and wait these 3 days. While the snow has just started, I need to prepare more supplies." "Chile, what kind of things does the school's supermarket sell?" Chile was stunned for a moment. But seeing how serious I looked, she started explaining seriously. "The shopping area at Binhai University is called a supermarket, but it's actually more like a small mall. They have everything here. Food, daily necessities. It's more than enough for students at Binhai University to buy whatever they need, without even leaving the campus. So a trip to the supermarket is definitely necessary. Just not right now. We need to wait a little longer." The next day after lunch, I told Zhang Miao Miao and Ning Yao, "The two of you, get ready to go out with me and Xiaoxiao." At this, Zhang Miao Miao's face fell instantly. If she had a choice, she'd stay in the safe house forever, never stepping outside again for the rest of her life. She leaned in coquettishly. "Boss, can I skip going out?" I stared at her expressionlessly. "You can, but my place doesn't keep useless people." "Fine, I'll go," she hurried to say. "Do you have to be this strict?" she muttered. "Can I even ask?" I added, "Remember to put on more clothes. It'll be freezing outside." Sheila, noticing I'd ignored her, pressed anxiously. "What about me?" "What about me? Your job is to draw design plans. Don't worry. I won't kick you out for no reason." With my reassurance, Silo finally relaxed. She'd been terrified she'd become the useless person I'd mentioned. When we stepped out of the safe house, the snow on the ground was already up to our ankles, and big fluffy snowflakes still fell from the sky. The worst part was the bitter cold outside. The air temperature must have been near 0, Even though Zhang Miao Miao and Ning Yao had layered up, they still couldn't stand the cold, their voices trembling as they spoke. "It's so cold, boss. Can we go back?" "We'll warm up once we get in the car," I said. Zhang Miao Miao followed my pointing finger in confusion and gasped at the massive object she saw. A heavy-duty truck parked right next to the safe house. Her mouth dropped open in shock. "My God, where did this truck come from?" I chuckled. "Where do you think?" "It's a reward I got thanks to you." I'd considered picking an off-road vehicle, or even an armored car, but given the current situation, a heavy-duty truck made the most sense. Who knew? If another disaster hit later, it might even turn into Optimus Prime. But that was a thought for later. Right now, it was just for easy transport. I didn't explain further. I just told them to hurry into the truck. I climbed into the driver's seat and started the engine. The truck's roar drew hordes of zombies, but they moved so slowly. Each step took seconds. They could only watch as we drove away. After spending a night outside, the zombies were all frozen stiff. I stepped hard on the gas, and we reached the supermarket entrance in just 2.5 minutes. Once out of the truck, I gave instructions. "Remember, grab your weapons first. Stay right behind me and Jiao Xiao. And don't fall behind." Ning Yao looked worried. "Is it too dangerous for Xiao Xiao to lead? Should I go first instead?" In Ning Yao's mind, as an adult, who'd already killed a zombie once, she was clearly more capable than Che Xiao Xiao. She thought it should be her protecting the others. "Don't worry about Xiao Xiao. She's way stronger than me." On hearing this, Ning Yao and Zhang Miao Miao both looked skeptical. "You're the one who moves freely through zombie hordes. And Che Xiao Xiao looks like just an ordinary little girl. How could she be stronger than you?" Still worried. The two got out and followed me and Che Xiao Xiao. After grabbing their weapons from the trunk, we entered the supermarket. The first floor was the food section, where a few zombies wandered between the shelves. "Ning Yao, Zhang Miao Miao, you two load the food onto the truck. Xiao Xiao and I will clear the zombies." With that, I grabbed a fire axe and walked toward the zombies. The zombies here were in better shape than those outside. They weren't frozen stiff, but luckily there were few of them, and they were scattered. I took down one with each axe swing. Soon, most of the zombies were cleared. Seeing no more danger, I turned to Che Xiao Xiao and said, "I'll go upstairs to keep clearing." When I reached the second floor, which was like a snack street, there were more zombies here. Clearing them took more time, but it was still manageable. Downstairs, the two women were cautiously collecting supplies, when suddenly a figure passed behind them. Ning Yao panicked and shouted, "Xiao Xiao, watch out!" Before she finished speaking, Che Xiao Xiao raised her hand and easily twisted the zombie's neck. After this little scare, the two went back to moving supplies. When I came back down from the second floor, most of the valuable supplies on the first floor had been loaded. Just then, Zhang Miao Miao ran over excitedly. "Boss, I found the supermarket's warehouse entrance." I was overjoyed. "Great job. When we get back, you can take a hot bath. I'll even reward you with a confidentiality agreement, just for you. Also, the zombies on the second floor are all cleared. You and Ning Yao go up and move those supplies." After the two went up, I went to check the supermarket warehouse. In the corner, there were 2 gasoline generators and 4 large barrels of gasoline. Each barrel should be a standard 200 liters, enough to generate electricity for hundreds of hours, or to fill the fuel tank of a heavy truck once. I quickly called everyone over, and we moved the generators and gasoline onto the truck together. This trip was a great harvest. Just the food and drinks alone would be enough for 2.5 years. At the same time, the students in the teaching building were having a hard time. A couple couldn't stand the loneliness, went out to study biology, and were directly frozen into specimens. At this moment, dozens of students in the classroom huddled together to keep warm. Hungry and cold, they fell into despair. Just then, the sound of a car driving came from downstairs of the teaching building. One of the students shouted excitedly, "There's a truck! There's a truck outside." Hearing this, the other students also got excited. "Great, is this the rescue team coming?" When Du Yangsheng saw this, she pushed the student by the window aside. After seeing the truck, she became emotionally excited. "They must be the people my dad sent." As soon as she said this, dozens of students immediately responded. Du Yangsheng was worried that there were too many people, which would cause too much commotion, so she only called the people she trusted more. But when the group marched grandly down to the first floor, they found that all the ways out were blocked. This was all her own doing. The day I left, Du Yangsheng was worried that I would come back, so she asked people to block all the windows. But fortunately, there were many of them, and they quickly cleared an exit. The moment they opened the window, the indoor temperature dropped sharply. The group gritted their teeth and went all out, climbing out of the window one after another and moving quickly towards the heavy truck. On the other side, I had already parked the heavy truck in front of the safe house. Jiang Miao Miao and the others had already put on down jackets and were busy moving the supplies in the truck into the safe house. But just when Jiang Miao Miao stopped to rest, she saw several blurry figures in the snow in the distance. The first thing she thought of was zombies. After all, in such freezing weather, it was impossible for living people to be out and about. Boss, there are zombies coming this way. Hearing this, my expression remained calm. It's okay, you keep going. I'll handle the rest. Soon, when the figures got closer, I realized something was wrong. Why are the zombies trembling like that? Even so, I became even more nervous, because the most terrifying thing in the doomsday is not zombies, nor natural disasters, but human hearts. In my previous life, many survivors gathered together, specializing in robbing other people's supplies. Just as I was worrying about whether to let some of them enter the safe house first, the faces of the people approaching gradually became clear. It turned out to be Du Yangsheng and the others. Immediately, I stopped being nervous. They were just a bunch of fragile college students. Too naive. At the same time, Du Yangsheng also saw me and was so shocked that she wet herself. She had wet herself. How could it be you? She looked at the truck and was even more shocked. Could this truck be yours? If it's not mine, could it be yours? At this moment, one of her followers leaned close to Du Yangsheng's ear. Yangsheng, they're moving supplies. They look like they're from our school's supermarket. Du Yangsheng glanced over and found that it was indeed the case. There are still supermarket labels on them. The other followers were also upset. In their eyes, everything in the school belonged to them. So one of them immediately stepped forward and shouted, "You're an outsider! It's already bad enough that you're staying in the school. How dare you take things without asking? Taking away the things that belong to us from the supermarket without permission. That's right. All these things are ours. You have to give them back to us." That's right. And this house, since it's on our school campus. It's definitely school property too. You have to give this up too. Du Yangsheng was even more greedy. She had her eye on my heavy truck directly. A truck like this costs tens of millions. You must have stolen it from the school. Give me back all the things that don't belong to you. I watched them acting crazily and couldn't help but find it funny. If you want them, come and get them yourself. Looking at the fire axe in my hand, Du Yangsheng didn't dare to act rashly. She shouted, "There are only 5 of you over there, and 4 of them are women, but there are 10 of us here. And there are more than 20 others waiting in the teaching building. I advise you to hand over the things obediently." To avoid unnecessary conflict, I chuckled. Do you look down on women? I'll give you a chance. As long as someone can beat my sister, all these things, I'll give them to you with both hands. Du Yangsheng agreed immediately. It's a deal. As soon as Tietu finished speaking, a tall, muscular man stepped forward. Compared to him, Che Xiaoxiao was like a small action figure. Che Xiaoxiao walked forward silently, staring at the muscular man in front of her with a blank expression. Tietu looked down at her from above and showed a lewd smile. Little girl, you're really pretty. Call me brother and let me hear it. I'll go easy on you. The others burst into laughter. They didn't think Che Xiaoxiao stood a chance against Tietu at all. Suddenly, Che Xiaoxiao's eyes turned red, and she swung a claw at him. Tietu still looked unconcerned, casually lifting his big hand to swat her away. But just as Tietu's big hand was about to land on Che Xiaoxiao's head, he stopped. The people behind Tietu didn't see what had happened. One of them urged impatiently, "Can you stop being soft on her? I'm almost freezing to death." But those who saw what happened were so scared that they wet their pants. There on Tietu's back was suddenly an extra hand. The 5 fingers of the hand were clenched tightly, grasping something dark red, which was still beating one after another as Che Xiaoxiao pulled her hand back. Tietu's huge 2-meter-tall body collapsed to the ground with a thud. A monster. One person was so scared that he froze on the spot. The others, seeing this, turned and ran as fast as they could. Du Yangsheng, who had so many followers just now, became a loner in an instant. It's not that she didn't want to run, but she was so scared that her legs went weak, and she couldn't move at all. Damn it! Damn it! She cursed repeatedly, crawled up from the ground, trying to leave this place of trouble as soon as possible. But suddenly, a foot stepped on her back. Du Yangsheng's body stiffened. She turned around and found me standing in front of her with an axe in hand. "Brother, spare me, as long as you don't kill me. When the people coming to save me arrive, I'll definitely take you with them." Listening to her words, I remained indifferent. Du Yangsheng tried to beg for mercy again, using her old trick that had always worked before. "You can't kill me! Do you know who my dad is?" "My dad is—" Her voice suddenly cut off, replaced by a scream. It turned out that I had chopped my axe down on her leg. "Why would I kill you? You owe me 2 lives. How could I let you die so easily?"
"I wouldn't be willing."
I spoke with a smile on my face, but in Du Yangsheng's eyes, I looked as terrifying as a devil. "What 2 lives? What does that have to do with me?" Du Yangsheng didn't understand what I was saying at all. "It's okay. You'll find out soon enough." After saying that, I searched in the snow for a while, then dragged out a zombie's corpse. What are you going to do?" Hearing this, I gave a sneer. "Do you know what it feels like to become a zombie? First, you'll feel your body out of control. Your limbs will become extremely stiff. Your brain will have hallucinations, and your ears will have auditory hallucinations. Then you'll feel an intense hunger, even a rat that's been dead for 2.5 years. You'll swallow it without hesitation." I described it vividly, as if I had experienced it myself, and Du Yangsheng only felt a chill down her spine. The hairs all over her body stood up. "Do you know why I know this so well?" As I spoke, I leaned close to Du Yangsheng's ear and lowered my voice. "It's all thanks to you." Then I chopped off the zombie's hand. Dark red blood flowed from the severed limb. Luckily, it didn't freeze. "You're in luck, kid." After saying that, I lifted the severed zombie hand and pressed it firmly against Du Yangsheng's wound. As the 2 completely different types of blood began to mix, the zombie virus started pouring into Du Yangsheng's body. At this moment, Du Yangsheng was still struggling for her life, frantically scrabbling at the ground to escape, while I followed slowly and unhurriedly behind her. 2.5 minutes later, Du Yangsheng's consciousness gradually blurred, and her movements slowed down too. This made me a little regretful, because the moment before turning into a zombie is extremely painful and tormenting. I had thought she could hold on a little longer, never expected it to be so disappointing. At this moment, Du Yangsheng's pupils had completely turned into the color of a zombie's. She let out a roar, turned around and pounced at my legs. I dodged easily and snorted in disdain. First life. Then I raised the fire axe and chopped fiercely at Du Yangsheng's head until she was hacked beyond recognition. Before I finally stopped, I was so tired that I was out of breath. That's the second life. We're even now. Ning Yao looked at the horrific scene and asked with some concern, "Boss, are you okay?" "I'm fine, no problem at all. I'm conscious and clear-headed." Ning Yao let out a sigh of relief. It seems there must be some grudge between the boss and Du Yangsheng, which is why he did this. Although she watched the student die a tragic death in front of her, she didn't feel the slightest bit of worry. After all, I was the one who saved her life. Ning Yao's favorability increases by 10. Hearing the system prompt, I couldn't help but pause for a moment, but quickly came to my senses. Then I told Ning Yao and the others to continue moving the supplies, while I went to take care of the stragglers. Inside the teaching building at this moment, every window was crowded with people, staring eagerly into the distance. At this moment, one of them shouted, "They're back! They're back! We're saved!" But some calm people noticed something was wrong. Why are 2 people missing? And why are they so flustered? It's like they're being chased by something. Her words poured cold water on the excited crowd. They subconsciously looked at Su Yulan. Su Yulan thought for a moment and said, "Come on, let's go downstairs to meet them and ask what exactly happened." Soon, a dozen or 20 people came down to the first floor, but they happened to run into the few people who had climbed back in through the window in a panic. Su Yulan glanced around, her brows furrowed tightly, because she noticed that Du Yangsheng was not among the crowd. "Where is Student Du? Why didn't she come back with you?" Hearing this, the few people looked at each other in dismay. No one dared to tell the truth. After a long silence, the bespectacled guy said guiltily, "Young Master Du, she was left behind by that outsider." Hearing this, my face immediately appeared in Su Yulan's mind, which made her even more confused. What exactly happened? Didn't you go to meet the rescuers? After the few people chattered about what had happened, Su Yulan pieced together the complete story, but she still couldn't believe it, that I not only kept a monster, but also used it to hurt people. Moreover, I had even risked my life to save Ning Yao before. Thinking of this, she felt that I wasn't inherently bad. So she comforted the crowd, saying, "Anyway, Student Do is in his hands now. I'll go out for a while and make him return her." But just then, a melodious and loud piece of music suddenly started playing. Someone immediately realized, the broadcast music will attract zombies. Some people thought about knocking out the speakers, but with 4 or 5 floors, and 1 speaker on each floor, there was no time at all. Suyulan shouted at the top of her voice, "Someone come with me! Come to the broadcasting room with me, and turn off the music." But the corridor was already in utter chaos. All kinds of pounding and shouting mixed together, plus the non-stop broadcast music. Suyulan's voice was completely drowned out. With no other choice, she had to go to the 5th floor broadcasting room alone. But after reaching the 3rd floor, the stairs leading upwards were all blocked. With no other way, she had to climb up carefully. In her urgency, Suyulan accidentally slipped, and a gash was instantly cut on her calf. But she had no time to bandage it, and endured the pain to reach the 4th floor. Although there were a lot of zombies on the 4th floor, they were all attracted to the speakers by the music. Suyulan hunched over, not daring to make a sound, and quickly reached the 5th floor. But as soon as she opened the door to the broadcasting room, she saw me sitting leisurely on a chair, holding a glass of drink in my hand. Suyulan had no time to be curious. She quickly shouted, "Turn off the broadcast now! You'll attract all the zombies here." Hearing this, I chuckled. This is exactly the effect I want. Suyulan stared wide-eyed in disbelief. "Why are you doing this? Don't you know this will kill everyone?" I didn't rush to answer her, but slowly walked towards the window. "They all deserve this." The camera cuts back outside. Zombies from all around had already arrived at the bottom of the teaching building. They were frantically slamming against the door. Suyulan was so anxious that she had completely lost her grace. "Listen, I don't know what Du Yangsheng and the others did to offend you, but every grievance has its source and every debt has its debtor. There are many students here who are innocent. No one here is innocent, including you." Suyulan paused in shock. Then she realized, "If you're blaming Du Yangsheng for driving you away, and we didn't speak up for you, I apologize to you on their behalf, but I just shook my head. That's not the truth I'm talking about. It's actually about my previous life. Du Yangsheng used to order me around to risk my life for her under all sorts of excuses, and even took all the supplies away on the pretext of centralized management and distribution. Behind the scenes, she even coerced girls into providing services for them in exchange for food. After I saw through these people's true colors, I chose to leave. Before I left, I even told Suyulan everything, but she thought I was just after her body and deliberately slandering Du Yangsheng. I couldn't defend myself no matter what, so I had to leave alone. After leaving, I found a fairly good shelter and also collected a lot of supplies. But later, Suyulan came looking for me, crying and saying Du Yangsheng was a scumbag, regretting not leaving with me back then. But little did I know, when I opened the door, I saw a scene that I would regret for the rest of my life. Back to the present. While Suyulan was in a frantic panic, the defense on the 1st floor was finally breached by the zombies. The students' terrified shouts and screams immediately drowned out the broadcast. The music reached the broadcasting room directly. With no way out, Suyulan cried and begged me, "Please, please, just for the sake of me letting you in back then, turn off the broadcast!" I chuckled. "Do you really think I came to Binhai University by chance? In fact, I came here specifically to take revenge on all of you. The moment I found you all, the ending was already sealed." Upon hearing this, Suyulan was filled with overwhelming regret. Watching her lost and dejected appearance, I felt absolutely nothing in my heart. Even felt a little amused. Aren't you supposed to be kind and care about your classmates? I'll let you know that the reason they're in this state is all because of you. It's all your fault. If you hadn't been such a saint and let me in, how would the students have ended up like this? I want you to suffer for the rest of your life." Suddenly, Suyulan's crying stopped abruptly. She looked up and hesitated for a moment, then started taking off her clothes. Soon she was only left in her white underwear. Seeing this, I remained expressionless. "What are you doing? Trying to seduce me?" Suyulan didn't answer, instead asking in return, "As long as you turn off the broadcast, you can do whatever you want to me." Hearing this, I took a step forward, staring at her carefully, but soon looked away again. "You can do whatever you want to me?" Suyulan opened her eyes in surprise. "You agree? I knew you weren't actually—" But she didn't finish her sentence. Before I cut her off, It's too late. Thanks to my reminder, Su Yulan finally realized that there were no more screams coming from downstairs. Instead, all she could hear were the zombies' roars. Now that my goal was achieved, I turned off the broadcast, climbed onto the windowsill, then jumped down, grabbing the water pipe on the wall. As I slid down, only Su Yulan stood there stunned in the room. It wasn't until the door behind her was suddenly slammed against that she finally came to her senses. Su Yulan stared nervously at the door, hoping that whatever was outside would leave. But the sound of pounding on the door didn't stop for a second. Finally, the door was broken open. A disheveled zombie walked in slowly. It was the female classmate Su Yulan had taken care of earlier. She still tried to awaken the classmate's sanity, but unfortunately it had no effect at all. Soon, the zombie opened its mouth and bit down on Su Yulan's arm. Meanwhile, outside, as I slid down the water pipe, I made a stop on each floor, making sure there were no living people left, before I felt relieved to return to the safe house. Inside the safe house, Zhang Miao Miao and the others had already moved all the supplies back to the warehouse. At this moment, only Ning Yao was in the living room. Xiao Miao Miao had gone to take a bath, and Chila was drawing in her own room. Ning Yao saw me come back, stood up and asked, "Was it you who played that music from the teaching building just now?" Ning Yao was a smart person, so she immediately understood what had happened. "Aren't you afraid of me?" I asked with a look of curiosity. "I'm not afraid. I know you must have your own reasons for doing this," Ning Yao replied firmly, her eyes bright. Being stared at by her like this, I felt a little awkward. "Go back to your room. Get some rest early tonight." As night fell, the heavy snow outside became even heavier, even mixed with hail. I actually wanted to sleep, but Che Xiaoxiao was clinging tightly to my side. Since her affinity had reached 75, her emotional awareness had also improved, and her body gradually became softer and fairer, even emitting a faint, delicate fragrance. This made it hard for me to fall asleep. I sat up abruptly, growing restless. "I can't sleep, I'll go to the bathroom." However, this time Che Xiaoxiao was quite obedient and didn't follow me. But as soon as I walked out the door, I unexpectedly saw someone standing at the entrance. It was Zhang Miao Miao looking at me with a coquettish expression. This made me feel confused. "What are you doing here?" Zhang Miao Miao took a step forward, almost leaning her mouth to my ear. "Boss, I want to work overtime." I thought for a moment, roughly guessing what she was thinking. Zhang Miao Miao's original identity was a materialistic woman, obsessed with money and security, and all the abilities I had shown were undoubtedly her most ideal choice. She didn't even ask to be pampered by me or get something for nothing. She just hoped I wouldn't drive her away. That was enough for her. Seeing that I didn't respond, Xiao Miao Miao took a deep breath. "Boss, guess what kind of underwear I'm wearing today?" Upon hearing this, I subconsciously glanced down. But since the lights were off, I couldn't see anything. So I made a random guess. Black, the kind with colorful patterns? But Zhang Miao Miao covered her mouth and giggled. "I'm not wearing any underwear at all." "Damn it, woman. You're playing with fire." With that, I lifted Zhang Miao Miao up in my arms directly. Soon the night passed. The work report was completed, and the confidentiality agreement was more or less settled. Seeing that I was about to go out, Zhang Miao Miao tried to fight for some benefits again. "So, boss, does this mean I don't have to do other work from now on?" "Dream on. This is just the price for you to live here. Food, drinks, and other things. You have to earn them by working, but considering you were work active, I'll give you a day off today." Upon hearing this, Zhang Miao Miao immediately perked up. At this moment, the system prompt sounded. Zhang Miao Miao's affinity increases by 25. Current affinity, 60. Damn it, 25 points directly? When did increasing affinity become so easy? This made me can't help but think deeply. Genuine love only brought betrayal in return. But when I don't take feelings seriously, the affinity actually skyrockets. But then again, Zhang Miao Miao was the last one I met, yet her affinity was now only 5 points lower than Ning Yao's. On the other hand, Qile, who I met first besides Che Xiaoxiao, had an affinity as low as 40 right now. Wait a minute, suddenly, I realized I seemed to have forgotten about Che Xiaoxiao. During breakfast, Che Xiaoxiao stared at me with a blank expression, biting her food fiercely. Ning Yao noticed that something was wrong with her. "Xiaoxiao, what's wrong with you?" Seeing this, I waved my hand awkwardly. "Nothing. Kids throw tantrums sometimes. She'll be fine soon." Time passed quickly. The heavy snow finally stopped. The snow accumulation outside reached 2.5 meters. Almost as deep as a floor, the safe house was only 5 meters tall. More than half of it was buried in the snow. Fortunately, the titanium alloy door could still open and close, so there was no problem with entering or exiting. At this moment, Ning Yao took the initiative to find me, since the snow outside has stopped. Keela, Zhang Miao, and I want to search for usable items and supplies nearby. Sure. Do you want Che Xiao and me to go with you? No need. I've checked. All the zombies outside are buried in the snow. We just need to be careful of the ones indoors. All right, go ahead then. Be careful. And also, remember it's best not to stay outside for more than an hour. About 40 to 50 minutes later, the three of them came back, with more or less bloodstains on their bodies. Seeing this, I was very satisfied. Good job, go take a hot bath when you get back. And relax well. After they went inside, I took Che Xiao and walked towards the teaching building. Ning Yao and the others still can't be immune to the zombie virus, so there's a risk of infection. To eliminate this risk, I must obtain a virus vaccine from a female zombie, and coincidentally I knew where to find one. A female zombie that definitely meets the system's standards. The teaching building, which once housed many student survivors, now had no sign of living people at all. After climbing in through the window, I immediately bent down. Because of my tricky move, this building had gathered all the zombies within 100 meters around. It was a total zombie nest. But what surprised me was that the building was completely silent. Not a single roar could be heard. So I boldly stuck my head out from the classroom and found that the entire corridor was covered with corpses. This made me confused. That can't be right. There were so many students. Did none of them turn into zombies? By lifting the eyelids of the corpses, I confirmed that these corpses were indeed infected. That meant they turned into zombies first and then were killed. Could it be that other survivors had been here? Oh no, I suddenly remembered the purpose of my trip and quickly pulled Che Xiaoxiao's hand to run upstairs. When we reached the door of the 5th floor broadcasting room, we saw a corpse lying inside at a glance. But fortunately, it wasn't Su Yulan's. Seeing this, I let out a sigh of relief. Strange, why isn't Su Yulan here?
Did she escape?
But suddenly, Che Xiaoxiao was knocked flying by a huge force. I fixed my eyes and looked. Su Yulan was standing at the door of the broadcasting room. It's you weren't infected? Hearing my question, Su Yulan slowly lifted her head. At this moment, there were several black lines on her face, making her look strange and dangerous. This appearance didn't look human at all. Soon, Su Yulan charged at me at a terrifying speed. I quickly dodged to the side. So fast! She's definitely not an ordinary zombie. Before I could get up, Su Yulan turned into a blurry afterimage again. I thought she was coming for me, so I rolled away in a fluster. But to my surprise, her target was Che Xiaoxiao. Che Xiaoxiao was still in a daze. When Su Yulan grabbed her by the neck and lifted her up, she exerted force with her hand, ready to break Che Xiaoxiao's neck. No! I shouted nervously, hearing my shout. Che Xiaoxiao seemed to be activated. She grabbed Su Yulan's hand with both hands and easily pried it open. Su Yulan's expression showed some surprise, even tilting her head in a human-like manner. Che Xiaoxiao didn't give her time to be surprised. Grabbed her hand and threw her away. In an instant, Su Yulan fell heavily to the ground. At the same time, Che Xiaoxiao's status panel appeared in front of me. Not only had her affinity reached 90, she even gained a new strength mutation ability. Then I looked at Su Yulan's panel. Name, Su Yulan. Identity, art student. Pianist zombie speed mutation. Affinity 40. Hand-holding reward, piano skills, or 100 kilos of raw meat. Choose one. First kiss reward. Complete piano score collection or zombie virus vaccine, choose one. Full strategy reward. All artistic talents or gene evolution potion, choose one. I had expected Su Yulan to have an additional zombie identity, but logically speaking, she should have lost all her previous human memories, so her affinity should have been 0. What was even stranger was that Su Yulan's target just now was Che Xiaoxiao, not me. At this moment, Su Yulan, who had been smashed against the wall, took a long time to get up. She was muttering, "Kill all zombies," under her breath. As soon as she finished speaking, she charged at Che Xiaoxiao again, but fearing the other's strangeness, she didn't launch a frontal attack this time. Instead, she moved quickly around Che Xiaoxiao. Seeing the right moment, Su Yulan rushed forward quickly and grabbed fiercely at the center of Che Xiaoxiao's back. Seeing this, I shouted, "Get down!" When He Xiaoxiao heard the shout, her brain hadn't reacted yet, but her body had already automatically crouched down. Su Yulin's sneak attack failed again. Taking this opportunity, I rushed quickly behind her, and then hugged her tightly. Su Yulan struggled and twisted her body, but couldn't break free. Just as I thought, she had become a zombie that wouldn't attack humans. At this moment, Su Yulin and I were almost pressed tightly against each other. If she wanted to, she could totally kill me. But she didn't. She just kept struggling. When Che Xiaoxiao saw this, she was about to take care of Su Yulan. But I stopped her. Don't kill her. She's useful to me. Help me get the rope from the backpack. When Che Xiaoxiao heard this, she obediently took the rope and tied Su Yulan up. After letting go, I looked at zombie Su Yulan curiously. I noticed that as soon as I got close to her, she would calm down. But as soon as Che Xiaoxiao got close, she would become very manic. Seeing this, I couldn't help but joke, "Interesting. She was a saint when she was alive. And even after being infected, she's a saint zombie. Your identity should definitely include saint." Soon, I brought Su Yulan back to the safe house. Everyone looked shocked when they saw her. I could see their doubts. Don't worry, until I train her to obey my orders. I won't untie her. Train? A zombie? Ningyao and Qilo were so scared by my words that they looked like cowards, while Zhang Miao Miao stroked her chin thoughtfully. So Xiaoxiao is in the same situation too? That's right, Xiaoxiao is also a zombie. Ningyao suddenly realized. No wonder Xiaoxiao never talks usually, and only eats meat. Zhang Miao Miao snickered from the side. Boss, don't tell me you have feelings for Su. Yulin, that's why you won't let her go even after she's turned into a zombie? Am I not enough to satisfy you? I knew what she meant, so I asked back, what do you think? Zhang Miao Miao's face turned red instantly. She thought of her embarrassing performance last time. I just didn't have experience last time. It might be different next time. Sheila, who was standing beside them, heard their conversation, and her eyes widened like light bulbs. Ning Yao, however, looked like she already knew everything. With a calm expression, "All right, everyone go about your own business." After dismissing everyone, I extracted a sample from Su Yulan. Reward, 100 kilograms of raw meat. On the other side, after being dismissed, Qile found Zhang Miao Miao again. "What you said in the living room just now, was it true that you and the boss?" Hearing this, Zhang Miao Miao pretended not to understand on purpose. "What was true?" "You know, that thing." Sheila was so anxious that her face turned red. Only then did Zhang Miao Miao nod.
"Oh, so you're talking about this."
"So what if it is? Does it have anything to do with you?" When Chilo heard this, her face turned bright red. "Why do you do that kind of thing with the boss?" Zhang Miao Miao suddenly became interested. She deliberately sighed. Sigh. "We're living under someone else's roof. Do we have a choice?" Sure enough, Qile took the bait right away. "So, did he force you?" Seeing Qilo take the bait, the corner of Zhang Miao Miao's mouth curved upward even more. "No, I took the initiative to avoid being abandoned. I had no choice but to do this." As soon as she heard this, Qile got all excited. "But why would he want to drive you away?" "It's just because I'm useless. I can't do anything. Unlike Miss Ning, who knows how to treat people, and unlike you, who can draw design sketches, at least you two have value for the time being. So to stay here, I had no choice but to come up with this idea." After listening to Zhang Miao Miao's words, Qilo became even more worried. "Will I be driven away too?" Zhang Miao Miao thought thoughtfully. "Maybe. After all, there will come a time when you finish drawing all the sketches." As soon as these words were spoken, Qilo panicked immediately. "Then what should we do?" Thinking of how Qilo had opposed her before, Zhou Miao Miao smiled and said, "Come closer. I'll tell you." When Qilo heard this, her expression was first surprised, then hesitant, and finally she gritted her teeth and nodded with a serious face. After dinner, I was feeding Su Yulan, but just then Zhang Miao Miao walked over. "Boss, I want to work overtime tonight." I just gave her a faint glance, and then said, "I'll go to your room later." Hearing this, Zhang Miao Miao walked away with a seductive sway of her hips. Time quickly passed until night. I finally managed to trick Che Xiaoxiao into not following me, and sneaked into Zhang Miao Miao's room like a thief. The dim room wasn't lit, and Zhang Miao Miao didn't come out to greet me either. Instead, she was lying on the bed covered with a quilt. Because the safe house was very warm, the quilt she was covered with wasn't thick, and the graceful curves of her body underneath were clearly visible. Seeing this, I couldn't help but complain. We're already so familiar, yet you're still so shy. I skillfully took off my shirt and slipped into the quilt like an eel. Wow, you're already naked? Were you in a hurry? My big hands wandered freely over her body, but as I went further, the woman let out a soft moan with a hint of pain. I rolled off the bed like a leopard, then turned on the light, and there, lying on the bed, was actually Chile. Why is it you? I couldn't help but ask. Chilo stammered and couldn't speak. Because the light was on. I could clearly see Chilo's face. Rarely she had put on makeup. Her thick bangs were pushed up, revealing her fair forehead. A flash of amazement couldn't help but cross my eyes. I never thought Chile's real appearance would be so beautiful. Just looking at her face alone, she was even more beautiful than Zhang Miao Miao and Ning Yao. She could even be compared with Che Xiaoxiao. Feeling my fiery gaze, Sheila shyly covered her body, but at this moment, I looked at her with confusion. What are you doing this for? I don't want you to drive me away. Haven't I told you this several times? As long as you work for me, I will never drive you away. I know, but I just don't feel secure. After that, she told me about her childhood. My parents got divorced when I was little, and I was raised by my grandma. After my grandma passed away, all my relatives looked down on me. You could say my life has been really unfortunate. Watching Chilo become more and more sad as she spoke, I patted her on the head. All right, as long as you don't betray me, I will never drive you away. Hearing my sincere reply, Kilo finally felt at ease. Okay, boss, I'm not afraid of you anymore. Hurry up and go back. Hearing this, I gave a wicked smile. Go back? How can I go back looking like this? Keeluk subconsciously looked down, then quickly looked away. Her face was also flushed red. Then what should we... Before she could finish her sentence, I directly pounced onto the bed like a hungry tiger. The next morning, everyone sat around the dining table eating. Keela looked energetic. Her face ruddy. It was a world of difference compared to before. Though Ningyao was older, had broad experience. She still had no experience with such things after all. She didn't notice anything unusual, naively thinking Chile had put on makeup. But Zhang Miao Miao couldn't hold back, letting out a snort. Seeing this, I tapped her on the head with a chopstick. So happy? After dinner, you go wash the dishes, then clean the entire safe house thoroughly. Zhang Miao Miao immediately lost her smile, having to agree obediently. If I don't discipline her properly, who knows who she'll send to my bed next time? Though I did find some enjoyment in it. This kind of lottery feeling was quite thrilling. Besides, this could also help Chile get back at her. Thinking this, I brought up Chile's status panel. For the initial reward, I chose sewage treatment equipment. After all, water is the source of life. Solar power generation equipment couldn't compare to it at all. Moreover, it was overcast outside 24 hours a day, so we couldn't collect much solar energy at all. If we wanted electricity, we still had to rely on the gasoline generator. The surveillance system given as the initial reward included 4 wireless cameras and 1 monitor. It could work as long as we put batteries in it. After dinner, I assigned tasks to them again. You don't need to go out today. Kilu, focus on drawing. Zhang Miao Miao, you're in charge of cleaning the safe house. Ning Yao, you're in charge of supervision. Hearing this, Zhang Miao Miao immediately flared up. Making me clean is bad enough. Why do I still need someone to supervise me? Zhang Miao Miao, who had just been defiant, immediately wilted. I'll obey. Can't I just obey? As for me, I plan to install the surveillance cameras, installing them at the school gate, and the back mountain. That way I could notice in time. Anyone entering the school? By the way, I took Che Xiaoxiao to search around the school, to see if there were any more generators and gasoline. At the end of the day, I successfully completed the task. After Che Xiaoxiao finished evolving, her strength increased by dozens of times. Dealing with zombies became extremely easy for her. One grab and one twist would turn a zombie into a corpse. Gas barrels that originally required several people to carry. She could lift alone. I just needed to direct from the side. It was already evening when we returned to the safe house. Since there were no entertainment activities and no internet on our phones, everyone stayed in the living room chatting together. Shilo, on the other hand, was tinkering with the radio we had brought back from the supermarket. Zhang Miao Miao walked over to her, saying, "What are you messing with that radio for?" "I'm adjusting the frequency to see if I can receive any outside information." Shilo explained while turning the knob. Somehow she pressed a certain button, and a sound came from the radio. "I got a signal!" Shilo shouted in surprise. Hearing this, everyone immediately gathered around. A man's voice came from the radio. Fellow citizens of Binhai, I am the mayor of Binhai City. I believe all of you have suffered from the terrible zombie crisis and natural disasters, and you are still suffering deeply now. As mayor, I deeply sympathize with your suffering. But here I want to tell you a piece of good news. Through unremitting efforts, we have successfully recaptured Haitian community. Now it serves as a safe zone and will be open to all citizens. Hearing this news, everyone reacted differently. Zhang Miao Miao seemed very excited. So there are other survivors in Binhai City. Besides us, Kilo was also happy. I knew it. How could mere zombies wipe out humanity? Zombies can only cause chaos in the early stage. Once humans adjust, we can eliminate the zombies soon enough. But as a reincarnator, I knew very well that there would be several more crises ahead. I didn't even know exactly how many, because I had already died by then. In my previous life, I had also heard of large-scale safe zones, but they all disappeared before long. Being famous isn't a good thing. It just makes you easier to expose. You two are so happy. Do you want to go to that safe zone? Ning Yao asked curiously. Qilo glanced at me secretly, her eyes full of deep affection. I'm not going. I think it's good here. At the moment, Chili only wanted to stay with me, no matter where I went. Zhang Miao Miao didn't think that deeply. Being carefree, she just thought it was better here. But suddenly her expression changed. Wait, the mayor of Binhai City. Isn't that Du Yangsheng's dad? Hearing this, Ning Yao and Qilo couldn't help but look at me worriedly. As for me, I frowned. Du Yangsheng did mention her dad back then, but I didn't give her a chance to finish speaking. I directly killed her on the spot. I never thought there would be such a big trouble ahead. It's okay. Du Yangsheng's dad doesn't even know she's dead. Even if he did, so what? If we don't say anything, who would know the boss killed her? Qilo pouted and said confidently. Hearing this, I smiled lightly. I trust you all. Don't worry, nothing will go wrong. Though I said that, I had already made up my mind. I planned to visit this so-called safe zone. Haitian community. It was originally a high-end villa community in Binhai City, where only the rich or noble lived. Therefore, the community was built extremely well. The walls were tall and thick, mostly keeping the zombies out. As the mayor of Binhai City, Du Kangning naturally had the means to live here. After the cold wave, he led the security team and some community residents to form a team, recapturing the community. Now, it had become a temporary safe zone in Binhai City. A man in a security uniform found Du Kangning. Mayor Du, 11 more citizens came to seek refuge today. Their information has all been recorded in the form. Hearing this news, Du Kangning was very happy. Great, go arrange it. Incorporate the young and middle-aged men into the search team and assign the elderly, children, and women to logistics. Zhang Deshan, the head of the security team, hesitated for a moment, saying, most of the community owners are unwilling. After all, with so many outsiders entering the community, they say it will affect community security. Those fools are just obsessed with money. What time is it now, and they still care about this? Go back and tell them. If they join the search team and collect supplies outside the community, I'll drive all those outsiders away. I understand. You're really smart, Mayor. With that, the security chief walked out. At this moment, a gentle voice came. Kang Ning, have we heard any news about Yang Sheng? A woman in her 30s came down from upstairs. Though she was over 30, she had a delicate appearance and great grace. Anyone would feel the urge to covet someone else's wife when seeing her. Du Kangning was just about to answer, when another woman's voice came from behind the lady. Oh, why are you so worried about her? They say a troublemaker lives for 1,000 years. She won't die that easily. This person was none other than Du Yangsheng's younger sister, Du Jiajia. A few days later, Tila pushed open my door. I finished drawing the new blueprints. Hearing this, I was very excited. That's great. Let me see them quickly. As I spoke, I took the blueprints. Tilo explained beside me. According to your requirements, the new area is divided into 3 parts. The planting area, the livestock area, and the billiard room. I nodded in satisfaction. The treated sewage can be used to water the vegetables, and also to feed the livestock. The livestock manure can be used as fertilizer. It's a form of recycling. Well done. Thank you for your hard work. After speaking, I took the design drawings and walked outside the safe house. System. Extract the reward. Soon, a brand new building appeared next to the safe house. The 2 buildings were connected, and one could pass between them via a corridor. But suddenly, the safe house's alarm went off. Only the camera at the school gate captured a group of 4 people entering the campus. These 4 people obviously had a clear target and didn't act like headless flies, running around randomly on the campus. Instead, they headed straight for a teaching building. One of them said as they walked, according to intelligence, Mayor Do's son had a class right before the zombie crisis broke out, so he should be in the teaching building. What do you think, Officer Sue? 3 of the 4 in the team were ordinary men, while the only female member was wearing a down jacket. Her movements were well trained, and it was obvious she wasn't an ordinary person. Sue Rui was a police officer from Binhai City's police force. When the zombie crisis erupted, the entire police station fell, and only she was on duty outside. So she survived. Later, she also took the initiative to join the search and rescue team, wanting to live up to her police uniform. But she never expected that. Her first mission would be to rescue Mayor Do's son. Soon, the 4 of them arrived at the teaching building, climbed in one after another, and after carefully checking the classrooms, they walked into the corridor, but they were stunned as soon as they stepped out. The corridor was filled with corpses everywhere. Although they couldn't figure out the situation for a moment, they had no choice but to bite the bullet and search. Soon, someone noticed something. Look, there's a strange building over there. Sue Rui looked in the direction mentioned upon hearing this. After walking for 2.5 seconds, they finally decided to go and check it out. When they arrived at the safe house, the 4 of them walked around the house, letting out exclamations from time to time. Oh my God, what material is this house made of? It looks like titanium alloy. Who has such capability? To build a house with titanium alloy? Come over here and look quickly. Suddenly, one of them shouted loudly, Look, there's a truck parked here. Everyone looked in the direction of the voice and saw a heavy-duty truck that was 13 meters long and nearly 4 meters tall parked right in front of them. The shock it brought was quite intense. Unlike the other 3 who were amazed by the truck's appearance, Sue Rui was thinking more about the truck's practicality. After all, most machines now were several meters thick, and ordinary vehicles couldn't pass through at all. Members of the search and rescue team had to carry supplies manually, which was extremely inefficient. But if they could drive this heavy-duty truck now, they would definitely be able to save more citizens. Thinking of this, Sue Rui prepared to climb up, to see if the car key was inserted. I, who had been staying in the safe house, finally couldn't stand it anymore. So I prepared to go out with Che Xiao. Soon, the sound of the titanium alloy door opening attracted the attention of the several people. They stopped what they were doing and looked over together. Seeing this, I first asked politely, Excuse me, what are you doing around my truck? Hello, we're from the search and rescue team. Is this truck yours? I nodded, not denying it. Sue Rui jumped down from the truck and took out a photo. Are you also a student of this school? Have you seen this person before? I took the photo and looked at it. Sure enough, it was as I had guessed. The person in the photo was Du Yangsheng. Naturally, I couldn't admit that I had seen him, so I just shook my head. Upon hearing this, Sue Rui took back the photo with an indifferent expression. Compared to Mayor Do's son, she was now more interested in this heavy-duty truck, so she brought the topic back. Could you tell us where you got this truck? I raised an eyebrow. Does that have anything to do with you? One of the men couldn't stand it anymore, showing a fierce expression. What kind of attitude is that? How dare you talk to Officer Sue like that? In my opinion, you must have stolen this truck. That's why you dare not say, another man chimed in from the side. Be sensible and confess your criminal facts. Then hand over the truck. Otherwise? Upon hearing this, I burst out laughing. Otherwise what? Arrest me and take me to the police station? The 3 men immediately flew into a rage, rolled up their sleeves and prepared to attack me. But Sue Rui stopped them. She knew that the law was no longer effective now, so she planned to use more simple morality. Here's the thing. This truck is very important to us. If we have it, our search and rescue work will be much easier, so I hope we can requisition the truck. Moral coercion now. I didn't even think about it and refused directly. No, who knows if you'll return it or not. Please rest assured. I guarantee you with my identity as a police officer. Also, we're from Haitian Residential Quarter. I believe you must have heard the news, right? It's the safe zone led by Mayor Do. I can take you there too. So you don't have to worry about being in danger without the truck. I was just worrying about not finding a chance to sneak into the safe zone. And unexpectedly, the opportunity came right to me. But after thinking for a while, I gave up the idea. A heavy-duty truck is a strategic means of transportation in the post-apocalypse. Handing it over to one's enemies is something only a fool would do, so I refused again. No, I'm fine here. While speaking, I didn't forget to observe Su Rui. Compared to the girls in the safe house, she had some unique features. She had a neat short black hair, and her brows exuded a heroic spirit. However, because she was wearing a down jacket, it was hard to tell what her figure was like. But judging from her long legs alone, this person was definitely not ordinary. Suddenly, the system panel popped up. Name, Su Rui identity, police officer. Member of shooting association. Initial reward, mastery of shooting skills. First kiss reward, random firearm. Plus 100 rounds of ammunition. Complete strategy reward, firearms arsenal. This made my eyes light up immediately. I didn't expect the reward to include a gun. Now I had to win her over. But it wasn't because she was beautiful or had a good figure, but for the gun. At this moment, a male team member interrupted my thoughts. Officer Su, why are you wasting words with him? Just pull out your gun. He'll hand over the car key naturally. Upon hearing this, my eyes sharpened instantly. Sure enough, there was a gun at Su Rui's waist. If a conflict broke out now, how should I resolve it? The four of them. It was obviously unrealistic to control them directly. Then I would have to take a bullet to buy time for Che Xiaoxiao. As long as Che Xiaoxiao could get close to them, she could easily take care of the four of them. But suddenly, Su Rui said firmly, I will not draw my gun on a citizen. The several male team members still wanted to say something, but Su Rui raised her hand and stopped them. Then her gaze turned to Che Xiaoxiao. What a beautiful girl. If I were you, with such a beautiful and well-behaved girl by my side, I wouldn't be willing to risk my life, to move to a completely unfamiliar place either. Thinking of this, she spoke. If you don't trust our safe zone, you can come with us alone to take a look first, and then come back to pick up others. This made me happy immediately. It was just like when you're sleepy and someone hands you a pillow. But I didn't agree immediately. Instead, I put on a hesitant look. All right, then I'll go with you. Upon hearing this, Su Rui looked delighted. Then let's not delay. Let's head back now. But one of the male team members grew anxious. Officer Su, our main mission this trip is to bring Mayor Du's son back. If the person you're looking for is also a student here, then I can only tell you there are no living people left in this school. I spoke in a deep, serious tone. Su Rui thought clearly. Continuing the search would only be a waste of time. Binhai City was so large. Looking for one person was like looking for a needle in a haystack. They couldn't afford to delay any longer. Since you want to keep searching, let's split up. I'll take some people back first. And you keep looking for him. The three men exchanged glances, then smiled awkwardly. Without Su Rui, they really didn't dare to go into dangerous areas to search for someone. Seeing they didn't speak, Su Rui reminded them to get ready to leave. At this moment, I cut in, wait a minute. Let me go arrange something first. Sure, we'll wait for you for 10 minutes. We'll set off promptly in 10 minutes. Back in the safe house, Ning Yao and the others had been waiting for me in the living room. After I explained the general situation, I added a few more words. I need to leave for a while. Probably about 3 or 4 days. While I'm gone, Ning Yao will be in charge of everything in the safe house. After arranging things for the others, only Che Xiaoxiao was left. She was the one who worried me the most. There was no other way. I could only hope she would understand. While I'm away, your task is to protect the safe house and them. When I come back, whatever reward you want, I'll agree to it. The red light in Che Xiaoxiao's pupils flickered for a moment. Then she nodded. Seeing this, I smiled proudly. After grabbing a backpack for show, I walked out of the safe house. Then I followed the others and set off. Earlier, because Su Rui and her team were not familiar with the road conditions and had to avoid zombies. It took them a full 3 days to reach Binhai University. They wouldn't need that long to get back. At most one day, I followed behind them, silently memorizing the way back. At the same time, I also tried to casually ask about the safe zone. It turned out that at Haitian Residential Quarter, about a dozen survivors came to seek refuge every day, adding the original residents of Haitian Residential Quarter. The total number reached nearly 100 people, making it a large-scale camp. Additionally, I found an opportunity to shake hands with Su Rui, successfully obtaining the initial reward, mastery of shooting skills. At that moment, I felt like Shui Ying, the sniper, able to land a headshot with every bullet. I knew the effective range of every type of firearm like the back of my hand, and the firearms knowledge I displayed reminded Surui of an old acquaintance of hers, making her couldn't help but grow curious about me. Finally, before dark, the group arrived at Haitian Residential Quarter. And indeed, Haitian Residential Quarter lived up to its reputation as Binhai City's top residential area. Its area was even larger than a school. At this time, the on-duty security guard saw us, warily picked up his walkie-talkie, and shouted, "Persons ahead, please stay where you are," and state your purpose. Seeing this, Surui called out loudly, "I'm Surui from the search and rescue team." Upon hearing this, the security guard picked up a list and flipped through it. When he confirmed that Surui's name was indeed on the list, he pressed the button to open the gate. The electric gate slowly opened, and we walked in together. At this moment, Surui said to me, "You can look around first. We need to go report. Just meet us here in an hour." I nodded and watched Surui leave with the 3 men. I secretly guessed in my heart, Surui must be going to report to Du Yangsheng's father, Mayor Du. If I followed her, wouldn't I find out where Mayor Du lives? Thinking this, I quietly followed them. There were quite a few people coming and going in Haitian Residential Quarter. From their clothes and demeanor, they didn't seem like the original residents here. Moreover, they were all in a hurry, unwilling to stay outside in the bitter cold for long. My movements didn't attract anyone's attention. I smoothly followed Surui to a villa. Watching them enter the villa, I was certain this must be Mayor Du's home. I then walked around the villa, trying to find a way to eavesdrop on the conversation inside. At this moment, inside the villa's living room, Du Kangning, who exuded authority even without anger, said calmly, "So, you're back without finding my son?" Facing the mayor, who radiated the dignity of a superior, the other 3 men didn't dare to breathe heavily. Only Surui wasn't afraid of him. "Mayor Du, I asked them to return. I think since your son escaped the school, he will definitely receive news of the safe zone. There's no need to waste time searching for him." Du Kangning didn't speak. He just stared at Surui. Surui wasn't intimidated either. She met his gaze, neither humble nor arrogant. A few minutes later, Du Kangning suddenly spoke, "Officer Su, you have rich rescue experience. Your command must be the most correct. All right, is there anything else to report?" Surui hesitated for a moment, then said, "We found other survivors at Binhai University." I see. I'll arrange other teams to go rescue them." Upon hearing this, Surui couldn't help but feel that Du Kangning's attitude was a bit perfunctory and cold. However, she couldn't find anything wrong with his words. Just as Surui was thinking, one of the 3 men, wanting to impress the mayor, spoke up. "Mayor Du, this survivor is no ordinary person. He has a truck over 10 meters long. We tried to requisition the truck, but that survivor refused no matter what. And Officer Su even took his side instead of helping us." Du Kangning said in a reproachful tone, "Officer Su, this is your mistake. You should know how important a truck that can drive in the snow is to us. No matter what, you should have gotten the truck first." Surui said seriously, "I know. But that survivor is also a citizen. I can't forcibly take a citizen's property without their consent." When Du Kangning heard this, he was instantly infuriated. How could this woman be so rigid about rules? When was this the time to be nitpicking over such things? However, Surui was indeed a rare strategic talent, and she also had a service pistol. Du Kangning didn't want to fall out with her, so he didn't want to say anything too harsh. "So what's the point of you bringing that person back?" Surui took the initiative to explain, "I thought he was unwilling to lend me the truck, because he was worried about being in danger without it. So as long as he's safe here, he won't have any use for the truck anymore." "So did your plan work?" "No," Surui shook her head. "He seems to be distrustful of our safe zone. So I invited him to come and take a look first, then decide whether to move here." "I see." Du Kangning waved his hand. "Go back first, and get some rest early." The remaining 3 men exchanged glances, confused about why Du Kangning had kept them, but let Surui leave alone. Surui was also puzzled, but she didn't ask any questions. She turned around and left the villa. After Surui left, Du Kangning spoke again. "Surui is too righteous, but that's not a good thing in times like this. So she must be kept out of what I'm about to say." The 3 men nodded thoughtfully. Du Kangning narrowed his eyes slightly. "A truck, such an important means of transportation, will be of great use to our safe zone. We must get it, whether that person is willing or not." "Do you understand what I mean?" They froze for a moment, then realized what he meant, and nodded repeatedly. "Yes, Mayor, we understand. Find a chance to bring that person to me." I'll talk to him first. If he refuses, then you find another way to. Du Kangning didn't finish his sentence, but everyone present understood his implication. Just outside the villa moments earlier, I had found a window that allowed me to see inside. I was just about to press my ear against it when a voice came from upstairs. Who are you? What are you doing outside my house? I was startled by the sudden voice, but luckily, my strong mental composure kept me from giving myself away. Forcing myself to calm down, I looked up in the direction of the voice. When I saw the person's face, I even zoned out for a brief moment, because this woman was incredibly beautiful. Her loose hair was wet, still dripping with water. For a second, I felt like I had traveled back to ancient times. Like I was Ximenqing, and Pan Jinlian was smiling at me from upstairs. Before I could speak, the woman said again, "You must be Lao Wang's son. Xiao Wang, right?" Hearing this, my expression changed instantly. I was just about to ask why she was insulting me, but the woman continued. "You came just in time." The water pipe in the bathroom stopped working again. "Can you help me check it?" "Perfect." This was the perfect opportunity to reconnoiter the place. "That's right, I'm Xiao Wang. Come on up. But don't take the front door. The back door is over there." The woman pointed to the area next to me. Only then did I notice that the back door was not far from where I stood. I opened the door and walked in. A corridor leading to the front door came into view, with the living room in the middle of this corridor. Seeing this, I tiptoed inside, pressed my back against the wall outside the living room, and listened carefully. I just happened to hear Du Kangning's last sentence. Contempt surged to the peak of my heart. "Dare to plot against me? Then I'll send you down. To reunite with your son. Xiao Wang, you're going the wrong way. It's this way." The woman I had seen earlier sounded a little anxious, but she raised her voice softly. I had to pull my thoughts back. I needed to deal with this woman first. "Coming," I replied. "Shh, keep your voice down. My husband is in a business talk. If we disturb him, he'll get angry." Husband? So this woman was the mayor's wife. Du Yangsheng's mother? I was a little surprised. I had thought she was at most in her 30s, but I never expected she was already a mother of such an old child. But in that case, there was an irreconcilable hatred between her and me. I had to get rid of her first. At this moment, I opened the mayor's wife's information panel, and all her detailed information immediately appeared in my mind. Name, Tangshin identity, mayor's wife, housewife. Favorability, 0. Initial reward, 100 kilom of fruits and vegetables, or grassroots cadre identity. First kiss reward, 100 square meter property. Complete strategy reward, expand property area to 1,000 square meters. This made me a little disappointed. I had thought that as a mayor's wife, she would at least reward something like a city, but all the rewards were related to being a housewife. Oh well, when the time comes, I'll infect her with the zombie virus and take the virus vaccine instead. Coming back to my senses, I politely greeted her. Tang Xin responded calmly. "Follow me." I followed her up the stairs. Since we were walking one after another, I had a full view of her figure. I couldn't look away even if I wanted to. We soon reached the bedroom. Compared to the luxury of the villa, Tang Xin's room was rather plain. What was even stranger was that there was only a single pillow on the bed, and all the furniture beside it was for one person. This confused me. Were she and Mayor Du sleeping in separate beds? Just then, Tang Xin sighed helplessly. "This is the place." I was just washing my hair, and the water suddenly stopped. I followed her into the bathroom. The space here was small, and the shower area and toilet were separated by glass. With 2 adults in this already cramped space, it felt even more crowded. Suddenly, Tang Xin bent down to check the water pipe. The already tight space became even more cramped. I subconsciously stepped back, but my back hit the glass partition door. There was no more room to retreat. When the water stopped last time, I twisted the switch, and the shower started working again. "But it's not working this time," Tang Xin said, twisting the valve again. Unexpectedly, the sound of water suddenly came from the pipe. Before she could straighten up, water sprayed out of the shower head, soaking both of our bodies completely. Luckily, I was wearing a down jacket, but Tang Xin was out of luck. Because the villa had heating on, she had been wearing very light clothes, drenched by the cold water. Tang Xin let out a shriek. She quickly turned off the valve, then turned around and apologized. "Sorry. Are you okay? Let me dry you off." I froze for a moment, then smiled. Isn't this a bit inappropriate? What's inappropriate about it? With that, Tang Xin pulled me aside, picked up a towel and started wiping. Oh, she meant wiping the down jacket. I let out a silent sigh of relief. I'd misunderstood, but there was a hint of disappointment in my tone. I suspected this woman was deliberately seducing me, but her sincere eyes made it seem unlikely. After drying the down jacket, Tang Xin went to the walk-in closet to change clothes. I, meanwhile, pretended to check the water pipe. 2.5 minutes later, I walked out of the bathroom. Seeing me come out, Tang Xin asked curiously, "How is it?" "What's the problem?" "It's too cold, the pipe's frozen and cracked. I don't have tools with me, so I'll have to fix it next time." Upon hearing this, Tang Xin didn't blame me. Instead, she took out a can of food to thank me. I didn't hesitate. I accepted it directly. Then I turned and went downstairs. But right after I left, Tang Xin turned around and saw a girl leaning against the wall. It was her daughter, Du Jiajia. "Jiajia, when did you get here?" "Right when you screamed," Du Jiajia replied. She mimicked Tang Xin's scream, purposely making it sound flirtatious. Seeing this, Tang Xin quickly explained, "You've got it wrong. That was Xiao Wang. He came to fix the water pipe." Du Jiajia looked disdainful. Yeah, I get it. Fixing pipes or delivering takeout? I know all these code words." Tang Xin trembled with anger. How can you say that? I'm your mother. So what if you're my mom? Does that mean my mom can hook up with random guys? I'm ashamed for you." Du Jiajia shook her head, her tone full of contempt. This family is totally messed up. A dad who favors sons over daughters, a spoiled older brother, and a mom who chases after men. I can't stand staying in this house for even a second longer. It was only then that Tang Xin noticed Du Jiajia was wearing a thick coat and pants. She forgot to defend herself and asked worriedly, "Where are you going dressed like that?" "Mind your own business." With that, Du Jiajia slammed the door and left. At the same time, I arrived at the meeting spot and walked toward a villa with Su Rui. After opening the door, Su Rui sat down on the sofa. "You'll stay here for the next few days." I was a little surprised. I get to live in such a big house alone? Of course not. Other people will be staying with you too. So do I have to work if I stay here? Su Rui nodded. Even though you're only staying a few days, during this time, you'll need to join either the search team or the patrol team. The search team goes out to find supplies and rescue survivors. The patrol team, on the other hand, is responsible for Haitian residential quarters security and clearing zombies from the villas. I stroked my chin and thought, for now, joining the patrol team is the best choice. It'll make it easier to figure out the safe zone security setup. Just then, a commotion broke out in front of the villa. Why can't I stay here? Miss Du, only members of the patrol team or search team can live here. Then I'll join the patrol team. Problem solved. Miss Du, you're making this difficult for me, said Bian, the staff in charge of accommodation, looking helpless. How am I making it difficult? I don't care. You have to assign me a room. Su Rui walked over to the two arguing people. Lao Bi, what's going on? Officer Su, you came just in time. Miss Du insists on joining the patrol team, and I can't stop her. Please help me talk her out of it. Upon hearing this, Su Rui's expression turned serious. Miss Du, do you have your father Mayor Du's permission to join the patrol team? When I heard this, I took a closer look at Du Kangning's daughter. If it weren't for her delicate features, she'd look just like a rebellious street girl. At that moment, the system panel popped up. Name Du Jiajia, identity Mayor's daughter, a rebellious teenager, favorability 0. Initial reward, Harley. Harley motorcycle or master-level combat skills. First heard reward, complete strategy for the game arcade. Reward, entertainment city. The reward is just so-so. I'm not very interested. Du Jiajia keenly noticed that I was looking at her. What are you looking at? Haven't you seen a beautiful woman before? Du Jiajia didn't recognize me. She only saw my back. When I walked out of her mother's bedroom, I didn't bother to argue with her and looked away. But Du Jiajia thought I was a coward. Then she turned back to Su Rui and said, I don't need her approval. I can do whatever I want. That's not possible. The personnel list of the patrol team must be reported, only with Mayor Du's approval. Can you join? Du Jiajia got a little annoyed. Then go and ask her. She will definitely agree. Su Rui glanced at Bian. Bian understood and ran to ask the mayor for instructions. More than 10 minutes later, she came back with a confused look on her face. Mayor Du, she agreed. Surui was immediately confused. Is Du Kangning an idiot? Doesn't he know that joining the patrol team is dangerous? Du Jiajia had already guessed. Her father agreed to let me join the patrol team, just to make a big fuss about it, so that he can publicize his impartiality and selflessness to the outside world, saying he even sent his own daughter to the patrol team, to hide her sadness. Du Jiajia pretended to be indifferent and said, "See? I told you she would agree. Since Mayor Du has agreed, then welcome to join us." With that, Surui held out her hand and shook hands with her. In that case, "Can you take me to my room now?" Bayan opened the notebook. In a serious manner, currently villas 5 to 10 are not fully occupied. You can choose a roommate to live with. What? Du Jiajia obviously couldn't accept this arrangement. Can't I have a room to myself? Bayan wiped and said, "That's not possible. Well, the rooms in our safety zone are still quite tight, so we can only have shared rooms. 4 people in one room. And it's co-ed living." Du Jiajia wanted to leave that home, but if the price was co-ed living, she couldn't accept it. At this time, Surui stood up and said, "How about this? Miss Du, live with me. My room isn't full yet." If she lived with Surui, Du Jiajia could accept it. Later, Surui asked Bian to arrange a room for me too, to thank Surui for helping out. And since I wouldn't stay for many days, Bayan arranged a single room for me. After finding my place to stay and settling everything, I went to report to Surui. To my surprise, Du Jiajia was there too. "Everyone is here. Since both of you are new, I'll lead you this time." Surui introduced as she walked. "There are still some areas in the community that haven't been cleaned up. Your job is to patrol these areas. Once you find zombies, you have to deal with them." Du Jiajia looked a little nervous. "What, I have to deal with zombies too? What if I have no experience?" Surui patted her on the shoulder. "I'll teach you. If we encounter zombies later, you deal with them. I'll watch from the side. Because some zombies are not buried deep. They may crawl out of the snow at any time. Plus, there are undiscovered zombies deep in the villas. So the safety zone is actually a bit dangerous. These dangerous areas are all marked with signs." When we arrived at the backyard of a villa, a roar suddenly came. Surui and I reacted first. One picked up a fire axe. The other pulled out a pistol. Du Jiajia still didn't understand what was going on. She thought it was a puppy barking. "Du Jiajia, this zombie is for you to practice with," Surui suggested. Hearing it was a zombie, Du Jiajia hesitated. How about letting her go first? She's a survivor from Binhai University. She basically fought her way out of a horde of zombies. She doesn't need practice at all." Hearing this, Du Jiajia looked disbelieving. How could she be that good? Her impression of me was still that of a coward from yesterday. Little did she know that I just didn't bother with her. Then I stared at the pistol in Surui's hand. "This is a Type 54 pistol, right? It's improved based on the Type 51. Effective range is 50 meters. Hearing me talk so knowledgeably, Surui became even more interested. Then she handed the gun to me. "Want to try it?" After I took the gun, I rolled a snowball from the ground and threw it directly at the dark place. Soon the zombie in the backyard came out upon hearing the noise. I raised my hand, aimed, and shot. In one smooth motion, a bullet directly pierced the zombie's forehead. Seeing this, Surui's eyes were full of admiration. What a precise shot. But Du Jiajia suddenly shouted nervously, "Wait! You seem to have lured all the zombies here." Surui looked in the direction Du Jiajia pointed and saw that all the surrounding zombies had been attracted over. There were as many as 7 of them, not to mention Du Jiajia panicking. Even Surui was a little flustered, but I was extremely calm. Type 54 pistol. Magazine capacity is 8 rounds. I shot one just now. 7 rounds left. 7 zombies here. Just 1 round per zombie. Then I raised the gun and aimed, and pulled the trigger quickly 7 times. With 7 gunshots, the 7 zombies fell to the ground one after another. Du Jiajia didn't hold back her praise. How accurate. "You're awesome." While Surui's eyes narrowed slightly, the farthest zombie here is 50 meters away, and it's even moving, plus consecutive shots. Every single one hit the bullseye. Surui was already a shooting enthusiast. After seeing how accurate my shooting was, her favorable impression of me increased significantly. During the rest of the patrol, Du Jiajia stayed close to me the whole time. Before the patrol ended, she even successfully killed a zombie by herself. After we parted ways, I returned to my room and started summarizing today's gains. First, I found out Mayor Du's address, and also learned that her house has an unlocked back door. Second, I got to know about her family situation. The security work in Haitian community is actually quite good. If I wanted to kill Dukangning, it would be impossible to leave without attracting any attention. Additionally, the 3 members of the search and rescue team must also be dealt with. Otherwise, they will take people to snatch the truck. After summarizing, I lay down to rest. But who would have thought that early the next morning? Those 3 people came to my door. Mayor Du wants to see you? Seeing this, I let out a cold laugh. Fine, I'll go with you to meet this Mayor Du. We arrived at the villa I had visited yesterday. Dukangning was sitting in front of the sofa. She put on a warm and enthusiastic expression. You must be the survivor from Binhai University, right? I'm Dukangning. Welcome to join our safety zone. I already knew about their conspiracy, so I kept a calm expression and said nothing. Seeing this, Dukangning forced a smile. Oh, right. I wonder if you saw my son Du Yangsheng when you were at Binhai University? I shook my head. No, I didn't. He's probably turned into a zombie and buried under the snow. My words made Dukangning's face freeze. The other 3 people were also shocked. They didn't expect this person to be so tactless. To actually tell a father that his son is dead. What a low EQ. Well, if that's really the case, then I can only blame my son for having bad luck. Dukangning put away her smile. Let's get back to business. I heard from someone that you have a heavy-duty truck. That's right. After getting confirmation, Dukangning smiled again. You can see that the number of people in our safety zone is seriously insufficient. If we have a truck, it can largely solve this problem. Her purpose was obvious. For the survivors in the safety zone, she wanted me to donate the truck. But whether the people in the safety zone live or die has nothing to do with me. If you're short on people, you can ask the original residents of the community to contribute. As soon as these words were spoken, Dukangning and the other 3 had different expressions. The 3 members of the search and rescue team were actually quite dissatisfied. Why should we risk our lives to collect supplies? Just to live in the safety zone? While those rich people do nothing and enjoy the benefits for free? But in front of Dukangning, they didn't dare to voice their opinions. But Dukangning's face looked rather ugly. It's not like she hasn't tried to mobilize those people. But the people living here are all rich or noble. She simply can't get them to move. At this moment, Dukangning's tone turned a bit harsh. I will arrange the work assignments in the safety zone. You don't need to interfere in this matter. I'll ask you one last time. Can you lend us your truck? No, I blurted out without hesitation. Dukangning's face turned cold and she waved her hand sharply. If that's the case, our safety zone doesn't welcome you either. Fine, I'll leave then. After saying that, I turned around and slammed the door shut without hesitation. Dukangning, who was left behind, was so angry that her face turned bright red. Since we can't reach an agreement, then we'll go with plan B. Follow her. Once she's out of the safety zone, find a chance to take her out. Then take the truck keys and drive the truck to me. Understood. The 3 of them nodded and bowed as they walked out of the villa and followed in the direction I had left. Little did they know that Dujajia had heard all of this. She had come back to get her luggage, but accidentally heard the 4 of them talking. Although she knew her father was very hypocritical, she never thought he would even hire someone to kill. I have to go notify Big Brother Expert. At the same time, I was still packing my things in the temporary room. I had originally planned to first figure out the situation in the community, then find a chance to sneak into the mayor's house and take her out, and then kill the other 3 one by one. But now plans couldn't keep up with changes. I had to leave early. But suddenly, Dujajia pushed the door open and rushed in. Seeing this, I looked at her in surprise. After all, she was Dukangning's daughter. Theoretically, she was also one of the targets I needed to eliminate. Dujajia was gasping for breath. Be Big Brother Expert. My dad is going to send someone to kill you. You have to run quickly. I had already known this news, so I wasn't surprised at all. Instead, I was confused about Dujajia's intention. Your dad is going to send someone to kill me. Why are you warning me then? Aren't you betraying your dad? I've long wanted to cut ties with my dad. That man only cares about his son. He has never cared about me. I just hope that when you leave, you can take me with you. The real reason she told me this was to get me to take her away. I didn't refuse either. Anyway, the safe house still lacks labor for growing vegetables and raising livestock. Fine, but before we leave, I need to first deal with the people your dad sent to kill me. On the other side, in a community more than 10 kilometers away from Haitian community, a zombie with an unusually large head was shuttling between residential buildings, followed by a large group of zombies. A man saw this and was so scared that he quickly pulled the curtains shut. But it was already too late. The big-headed zombie let out a roar. and the zombies behind it immediately howled and rushed into the building. Soon they dragged the man out. "No, don't eat me!" the man begged while trembling with fear. The big-headed zombie let out a low growl, and a group of zombies immediately pounced on the man and tore him to pieces. But just then, the radio on the table turned on. "Citizens of Binhai City, this is your mayor speaking. To all surviving citizens, please head to Haitian community located in the city center." Unexpectedly, the big-headed zombie seemed to understand. It walked to the street and let out a loud roar. Zombies all around swarmed out like a tide, and soon formed a dense zombie army. Meanwhile, in the safe house, Xiao seemed to sense something, and looked in one direction, and slowly said a few words. "Master, danger." At this moment, in the safe house, when Chila learned that I was in danger, she immediately became excited. "You mean boss is in danger? Teacher Ning, we have to go save boss." Ning Yao didn't make a decision right away, but fell into deep thought. Before leaving, I told her to take good care of the safe house, to ensure nothing happens to it. But now it's a matter of my safety, and she couldn't just do nothing. For a moment, she was caught in a dilemma, seeing that she still hadn't made a choice. Zhang Miao Miao also urged, "Well, can we go or not?" "Teacher Ning, you need to make a decision quickly." Qilo was also getting impatient. "If not, let Xiao Xiao and me go. We will definitely bring the boss back safely." Ning Yao thought for 2.5 seconds, and said in a heavy tone, "No, that's too dangerous. We should all go together instead, so we can look out for each other." "Okay, I have no objection." Zhang Miao Miao's mindset was no longer the same as before. She used to just want to find a shelter, but now she also had feelings for me. Hearing this, Ning Yao made a decision. "Since everyone agrees, then let's set off." "Chilo, do you have the key to the heavy truck?" Kilak nodded, and handed over a car key. She gave me the key to keep when she left. "Great, then let's drive the truck there." As soon as she finished speaking, Ning Yao realized a problem, that she didn't have a driver's license and couldn't drive. Shilo also shook her head in confusion, indicating she couldn't drive either. Only Zhang Miao Miao raised her hand weakly. "I drove a car when I was taking the driver's license test, though I didn't pass, but I can basically drive it." Hearing this, Ning Yao clenched her teeth. "That's enough. You'll be the one to drive. Xiao Xiao, you'll guide the direction. Let's go." On the other side, at Haitian community, Du Jiajia was dragging her luggage with both hands and following behind me, but at this moment her brows were furrowed. She didn't understand where I got the confidence to deal with 3 people, nor did she understand why I wanted to fight them, although my shooting skills were good. The problem was that the pistol had already been taken away by Officer Su. At this moment, I, who was walking in front, suddenly stopped. Du Jiajia was lost in thought, didn't notice, and bumped into me directly. She was just about to ask me what was wrong, when she noticed the 3 people we had seen in the living room earlier were sneaking behind us. Du Jiajia immediately tensed up. Big brother expert. "How about we just run away directly? There are 3 of them. We can't beat them." I, however, let out a cold laugh. "Don't worry, I can deal with them alone, only because I had just obtained master-level combat skills. Unless this master level refers to Teacher Ma, otherwise there's no reason I can't beat 3 ordinary people." At this moment, one of the 3 people also noticed me. She seems to have found us. "How about we just make a move directly, drag her out of the community, and then deal with her?" As soon as the words fell, the 3 of them crowded forward, ready to step up. But suddenly, a short and shrill alarm cut through the community sky. Everyone stopped what they were doing and filed out of the villas one after another, gathering on the open ground, looking around in confusion. Suri had just been patrolling, and upon hearing the alarm, she hurried to the security booth. "What's going on?" The security guard pointed towards the gate with a terrified look, only to see a vast, dense crowd ahead, an endless zombie army. Seeing this, Su Rui, eyes wide open in shock, immediately picked up a loudspeaker and shouted, "Zombie tide! Take precautions immediately." The entire safety zone panicked and fell into chaos. A middle-aged man grabbed a patrol team member who was fleeing back to a villa. "Where do you think you're going?" "You have to protect us." The patrol team member waved his hand sharply. "Get lost!" The middle-aged man, infuriated, threw a punch at him. "You bastard! You live in our place, eat our food, and you dare to be a deserter." And soon the 2 started fighting. When Dukang Ning arrived in a hurry, this was the chaotic scene she saw. She immediately snapped, "Calm down, everyone. Everyone, pick up your weapons. Fight the zombies!" Deng Xin also came out, but she was looking for Dujaja and shouting her daughter's name loudly. Under Du Kangning's call, finally some people picked up their weapons, and in their nervous and fearful gaze, the zombie army reached the gate. Fortunately, the gate of Haitian community was quite solid and withstood the zombies' attack. But just as everyone breathed a sigh of relief, they saw the zombie army part to make a path. A zombie with an unusually large head stumbled over to the gate, only to see it throw back its head and let out a loud roar. The zombies that had been covered in ice and snow actually broke through the thick snow layer and crawled out. When I saw this scene, my pupils contracted sharply. That's an intelligent zombie. Although I hadn't seen one in my previous life, I had heard of them. It's said that this type of special zombie is extremely rare. Not even one may appear among a million. Once they appear, this kind of zombie becomes a nightmare for all survivors, because intelligent zombies have the ability to control other zombies. When a sufficient number of zombies gather around it, it will form a zombie tide, submerging all safety zones. At this moment, zombies that had broken out of the ground had already started attacking living people. Many people were tackled, bitten, and infected, and after getting back up, they pounced on other people. Surui watched this with her own eyes and felt anxious in her heart. She drew her gun and shot at a zombie pouncing on an elderly person. There weren't actually many zombies running around in the community, but unfortunately, all the living people were so scared that they panicked and lost their wits. Calm down, calm down! Seeing this, Du Kangning was almost hoarse from shouting, but I chopped down a zombie with an axe and said to Dujajia without looking back, "Stay close to me." Dujajia responded with a firm, but suddenly her mother called her name from behind. Dujajia turned around and saw Tangshin running towards her, with a zombie chasing her from behind. But Tangshin didn't notice at all. Damn it, Dujajia cursed under her breath, grabbed a stick and ran towards Tangshin, knocking down the zombie that was about to tackle her with one blow, then asked angrily, "Why aren't you staying at home properly? What are you doing coming out here?" "I was worried about you." Tangshin looked a little wronged, as if she were the daughter instead. "You should take care of yourself first." Although she said that, Dujajia still took Tangshin's hand and ran. When I led them to the side gate, only to find that this side was also surrounded by zombies. Didn't expect this intelligent zombie to be so smart. It even knows the encirclement tactic. At this moment, the main gate, which had held on for a long time, finally collapsed with a crash, and the side gates also collapsed one after another. Zombies swarmed in like a crowd rushing for a meal in a cafeteria. Seeing this scene, some people were so scared that they froze in place. Those who ran fast had already hidden in villas and buildings. The zombies' attack was terrifying. Whether it was the patrol team or the search and rescue team, they were vulnerable in the face of the zombie tide. Watching the safety zone, which she had worked so hard to build, on the verge of collapse, Du Kangning didn't care about her hoarse voice, screamed at the top of her lungs, "Hold on for me! Hold on!" But the security captain glared at her disdainfully. "Damn it, here's a stick for you! You hold on for me!" Du Kangning couldn't believe her ears. Never expected the usually honest and unassuming security captain would dare to speak to her like this now. Before she could refute, Zhang Dashan had already fled into a nearby villa by then, and even locked the door from the inside. When Du Kangning came to her senses, only to find a zombie had already rushed in front of her, she was so scared that she wet herself, dropped her stick and ran away. Surui was one of the few people at the scene who could still stay calm, so she quickly realized something. In a moment of urgency, she had a clever idea: to catch the ringleader first to subdue the gang. The zombies seemed to be commanded by a special zombie. She aimed at the zombie with the larger head and shot. A gunshot rang out. The big-headed zombie fell off the car to the ground, but Surui sighed in her heart. What a pity. The big-headed zombie was 50 meters away from her just now, close to the maximum effective firing range of the pistol, and the weather was too cold. Her hands were a little stiff, causing the shot to hit the big-headed zombie's body, but not its head. Seeing this, Surui quickly adjusted her aim and targeted the big-headed zombie again. However, the big-headed zombie was extremely intelligent and didn't just wait for death. It pulled a nearby zombie in front of itself to use as a shield. Surui tried shooting twice, but both shots were blocked by the shield. Moreover, there were far too many zombies. Even 200 bullets wouldn't be enough. This made Surui frown. No, I can't kill it with my shooting skills. I need to find someone with better marksmanship. As soon as she said that, she immediately thought of me. After glancing around, she finally spotted me. At that moment, I was swinging my axe with each move, taking down one zombie per strike, but there were just too many zombies. I had to conserve my strength. I needed to find a chance to break through the siege, so I shouted to Dujiajia behind me, "Wait. When I charge forward, you have to keep up with me closely. If you fall behind, I won't be able to save you." After saying that, I got ready to charge out in one go, but suddenly the zombies at the side gate all stopped simultaneously. Immediately after, the sound of a vehicle approaching could be heard, and from the commotion it made, this vehicle must be quite large. Soon, a heavy-duty truck with a red and black color scheme barreled through and came into my view. At that moment, the heavy-duty truck was moving at full speed. Any zombie in its path was ruthlessly crushed. Seeing this, I was truly stunned. Why does this truck look somewhat familiar? It looks like mine. Just then, Shilo leaned her entire upper body out of the truck window, waving her hands excitedly towards me. This filled me with surprise. I didn't expect they would come. Then I led Dujiajia and charged towards the truck. But what I didn't expect was the heavy truck didn't slow down at all. Instead, it crashed straight into the wall, knocking a hole in the wall and coming to a stop right in the middle of the zombie encirclement. Keela, who had hit her head, was furious. "Zhang Miao Miao, why did you drive like that?" In response, Zhang Miao Miao looked unapologetic. "Being able to drive the truck here at all is already a miracle, okay? Otherwise, you drive it then." Ning Yao quickly stepped in to mediate. "Stop arguing. We need to get out of the truck quickly to meet the boss." But before she could finish speaking, Che Xiaoxiao had already jumped out of the truck. It turned out she wasn't holding any weapons in her hands. She grabbed a zombie and threw it more than 10 meters away, then grabbed the next one and threw it again. In just 2.5 minutes, she had cleared a path. The three of them took advantage of the fact that the zombies hadn't surrounded them yet, and quickly moved towards me along the path Che Xiaoxiao had opened. Meanwhile, I was also moving closer to the truck, forcibly fighting a bloody path through the zombie horde. The moment we met, Che Xiaoxiao immediately threw herself into my arms. I knew this wasn't the time for greetings. I nodded, then pushed Xiaoxiao away. "Let's go. We need to get back to the heavy truck quickly." The zombies behind us had already closed the gap again. But fortunately, with both me and Che Xiaoxiao working together after we reunited, we handled the danger much more easily. Soon we reached the heavy truck. Since the driver's cab wasn't very big, it couldn't fit so many people, so Chilo and Zhang Miao Miao got into the cargo compartment. Giving their seats to Che Xiaoxiao and Ning Yao, Dujejia also turned around and said to her mother, "Let's get in the truck too." But Tang Xin looked a little worried. "Jiajia, but your dad. Forget about him. Saving our lives is the most important thing." After saying that, Du Jiajia got into the truck. Although Tang Xin was worried about Du Kangning, she still got in the truck too. I sat in the driver's seat and restarted the engine. With a sharp turn, I spun the truck around. Once we were on the truck, I finally felt relieved. I even had time to chat with Ning Yao next to me. "How did you know I was in trouble?" Xiaoxiao sensed it. I noticed there was something off about Ning Yao's voice, so I quickly looked over at the seat next to me, only to see Ning Yao staring blankly at her arm, and there was clearly a bite mark on it. Seeing this, I asked anxiously, "When did you get injured?" Ning Yao forced a bitter smile. "I didn't notice. It must have happened when I was coming to meet you. I got ambushed accidentally." Then she sighed. "Let me get off the truck. I've already been infected. There's no saving me." But I wore a calm expression. "Ning Yao, do you believe in light?" "I do. Ever since you descended from the sky like a savior and saved me, I've believed in light." "Good, with me here. You won't turn into a zombie." Ningyo thought I was just comforting her, so she leaned in closer to me. Immediately, I felt a wetness on my lips. Ning Yao didn't want to die with regrets, so she wanted this kiss to be her final goodbye. Che Xiaoxiao saw this and got jealous again. She crossed her arms and pouted in anger, but I still kept my senses, and gently pushed Ning Yao away, who wanted another kiss. At the same time, a screen appeared in front of me. Name, Ning Yao. Identity, school doctor. Teacher, favorability, 100. Initial reward medical kit and first kiss reward have been obtained. Zombie virus vaccine has been obtained. Can be retrieved at any time. Full clearance reward, medical room plus medical equipment. At this, an idea popped into my mind. A green potion appeared in my palm. Ning Yao asked in confusion. I just gave a simple explanation, then plunged the needle into Ning Yao's arm and injected the vaccine. There, now you won't get infected. Ning Yao was already used to my amazing abilities. In her heart, I was almost omnipotent. So when she heard me say that, she felt relieved. After that, I turned my attention back to driving, preparing to drive away, but suddenly Surui kept shouting boss at me from a distance. Help me out. Help me kill that special zombie that can intelligently command other zombies. At her words, I looked in the direction of the big-headed zombie. After the sneak attack just now, the big-headed zombie's defense was now almost airtight. Seeing this, I could only shake my head. No way, I can't hit her either. Surui lowered her head in despair, but soon another glimmer of hope ignited in her. Can you let the others get on your truck? I didn't rush to refuse. Instead, I asked back, why should I do that? What's in it for me? Surui was left speechless. She knew I had no obligation to help her save people, but this was her only hope right now. So she could only beg, I'll give you this pistol of mine, and all 50 bullets with it. I just beg you to help me save the others. I shook my head with a chuckle. Not enough. You need to add one more condition. I agree. Surui agreed almost without thinking. As long as I could help her save people, she would even be willing to die, let alone any other conditions. I was quite satisfied with this, and directly told Keel and the others to open the rear compartment. When Surui saw this, she shouted to the crowd who were still fleeing, "Over here! Everyone come here!" When the crowd saw the truck, they rushed over like Brother G seeing a basketball, desperately running towards it, and climbed into the compartment, while Surui kept shooting to cover them. The 3 people who tried to assassinate me earlier, because they had more stamina, ran fast and also successfully reached the area around the truck. Get out of the way, I'm getting on first. They rudely pushed the people in front of them to the ground and prepared to get on the truck themselves. But just then, my voice suddenly rang out, "You 3 can't get on." The 3 of them immediately stared wide-eyed. "Why not? Why won't you let us on?" "Because this truck is mine. If I say you can't get on, you can't get on. What's the use of you saying that? I'm gonna get on anyway, damn it. What can you do to us?" After saying that, the 3 of them prepared to force their way onto the truck. I let out a cold laugh. "Listen up, everyone behind them. If these 3 get on the truck, I won't drive." As soon as these words were spoken, everyone's expressions changed. They spontaneously formed a human wall and surrounded the 3 of them. "Get out of the way!" the 3 shouted fiercely. But the people didn't move aside. Instead, more and more people stepped forward. One of the 3 ground his teeth in anger. "If we don't leave, what can you do to us? At worst, we all die together." Yuan Hongwen even tried to incite the crowd. "Why don't you all join us? Drive that person out of the driver's seat and take over the truck. That way, all of us can be saved." But no one else dared to do it. They weren't blind and had obviously seen my strength and Che Xiaoxiu's strength. Provoking me was no different from being bitten by a zombie. Either way, it meant death. So they still said coldly, "Please leave. Otherwise, we'll break your legs and throw you out." When Yuan Hongwen and the other 2 saw that the crowd was ready to act, they had no choice but to give up getting on the truck. After throwing down a harsh remark, they hurried away in another direction. When Surui saw that almost everyone had gotten on, she also gave up covering the rear. Just as the zombies were about to catch up, she leaped forward, jumped into the compartment, and closed the compartment door. The heavy truck slowly started moving. The zombies still tried to stop it from moving, but they were simply like mantises trying to stop a chariot, all becoming meat patties under the wheels. Once the truck picked up speed, it directly charged out of the zombie horde and sped away. The other zombies still tried to chase, but the big-headed zombie took a deep look at the truck's rear, then let out a loud roar. The zombies all gave up chasing. They entered one villa after another, dragged out all the living people hiding inside, and ate them. This included Yuan Hongwen and his 2 companions. On the other side, when the heavy truck was still 1 kilometer away from the safe house, I suddenly stopped the truck, then opened the compartment door. "This is as far as I'll take you. You'll have to walk the rest of the way on your own." Upon hearing this, everyone looked embarrassed. At this moment, a man who looked quite shrewd stepped forward. "Brother, if you let us get off here, isn't that leaving us to fend for ourselves?" To his surprise, I nodded directly. "That's right. I'm leaving you to fend for yourselves." The man was obviously stunned for a moment. He never expected me to admit it directly. After all, there were more than 20 people here. Any normal person, bearing the lives of so many people on their hands, would have to consider whether their conscience could bear it. Another kind-looking old man also spoke slowly. "Young man, please. Let us follow you. We can work for you. I was clearly getting a little impatient. I'll say this one last time. Everyone get off. When the zombies catch up later, you won't be able to leave. Seeing that their words had no effect, they could only look at Surui. Officer Su, please beg him for us. But Suri didn't beg either. Everyone, please leave. The fact that he drove us this far is already more than enough kindness. When they saw that even Surui said this, even though they were unwilling, they had no choice but to get off the truck one after another. I had been quite casual at first, but when I saw someone wearing a hood, my eyes sharpened. I immediately stepped forward and grabbed that person's shoulder. Wait a minute. Is something wrong? The person trembled, but didn't turn around. I frowned and sized the person up. Take off your hood. The person hesitated for a moment, then slowly took off the hood. When I saw his face, I let out a laugh. Aren't you Mayor Du? Why are you hiding your face like this? Du Kangning had sneaked into the truck when I drove away Yuan Hongwen and his two companions. Even Yuan Hongwen and his two companions had been ruthlessly driven away, and he is the one who started all this trouble. How could he trust me? That's why he had been huddled in the corner with his hood on all this time. Anyway, he was already safe now. And since he had been found, Du Kangning simply abandoned all pretenses. It was my mistake to expel you from the safe house earlier. But these citizens are innocent. You don't need to take your anger out on them, do you? Hearing this, I looked confused. When did I take my anger out on others? I just simply don't want to take burdens with me. But I quickly came to my senses. Du Kangning was still trying to maintain his public image at a time like this. What a hypocrite. Soon they surrounded Du Kangning again, looking ready to fight me. If I dared to lay a hand on him, I wore a look of disdain. Don't flatter yourself. The reason I won't take them with me is just that I think they're burdens. This sentence immediately aroused public anger. They started cursing. Seeing this, Du Kangning became even more complacent, the corners of his mouth lifting wildly. Stop arguing! Surui shouted loudly, putting an end to the further escalation of the situation. After things calmed down, she continued, no matter what, he just saved our lives. Whether he takes us with him or not is his own choice. It's useless for us to force him. After saying that, she walked up to me and handed me a pistol and a bag of bullets. Here's the pistol and bullets. There were originally 50 bullets, but I used 10 while saving people. I hope you don't mind. When the others saw this, they immediately panicked. Almost no one doubted how useful a gun was in the post-apocalypse. Du Kangning's face turned even darker as he said to Officer Su, how could you give the gun to someone else? This is what I promised him earlier, a deal for him to help save people. Du Kangning was so anxious that he didn't even show Su Rui any respect, and directly shouted insults. You're so short-sighted. Is a pistol something that can be used as a trade? Even if you made a deal, you could go back on it. I held the gun in my hand, watching Du Kangning stamp his feet in anxiety with amusement. Immediately, I raised the gun and aimed it at his head. The chattering Du Kangning suddenly fell silent. He subconsciously looked left and right, but when those who supported him saw the dark muzzle of the gun, they immediately forgot about Du Kangning, stepping back a few steps one after another, afraid of being shot themselves. I couldn't help but sneer. Sure enough, a mob is just a mob. They can never accomplish anything. Don't! A scream suddenly came from behind me. I turned around to look. My face instantly filled with surprise. Tangshin also had a shocked expression. It's actually you? Seeing that the two knew each other, Du Jiajia asked curiously, Mom, do you two know each other? Isn't he plumber Xiaowang? Tangshin said naively. What plumber? He's a master. Brother, Tangshin didn't care about my identity anymore. Right now, she just wanted to stop me. Immediately, with a plop, she knelt down straight. Please don't kill my husband. Whatever grudge you have, take it out on me. I just beg you to spare him. I couldn't help but smile inwardly. A stunningly beautiful woman was kneeling in front of me, begging me in utter humility. This feeling was really quite nice. What's more, this beauty was my enemy's wife. This made me even more complacent. Tangshin, what are you doing? At this moment, Du Kangning felt his face burning with shame. His wife was kneeling and begging someone else in front of so many people. It made him lose all his dignity. I'm saving you! Tangshin replied with tears in her eyes. Hearing this, Du Kangning flew into a rage. I don't need you to save me!
Get up right now!
Aren't you ashamed? Du Jiajia, who was beside them, couldn't stand it either. She thought of the life she had lived before, being ignored and looked down on. So she stepped forward immediately and grabbed Tang Xin's arm. Mom, stop caring about him. Just let him die. How can we do that? He's your dad. I can't just leave him alone. Then I won't care about you anymore. Du Jiajie was so frustrated that she wanted to cry, stamping her feet in anger. But she was only saying that. She didn't actually leave Tang Xin behind. However, Tang Xin's begging didn't soften my heart. Just as I was about to pull the trigger, Su Rui spoke up. Wait a minute. She thought these surviving citizens needed a spiritual leader, so she brought out her bargaining chip. I'll trade a piece of information for Mayor Du's life. This immediately sparked my interest. What's it about? Guns, an entire warehouse of guns and bullets. Hearing this, I raised an eyebrow. This bargaining chip was more than worth Du Kangning's life. Besides, even if I let him live a few more days, so what? Without the safe house, these people would eventually turn into zombies anyway. Thinking this, I agreed. Fine, but I have another condition. My farm is short of someone to plow and water the fields. She has to stay. As I spoke, I pointed at Tang Xin. Tang Xin was stunned for a moment first. Then she came to her senses and nodded quickly. I'm willing to stay. In fact, I wasn't short of help. I deliberately asked Tang Xin to stay, just to get on Du Kangning's nerves. Any man would understand my intention in doing this. Seeing this, Du Kangning shouted without caring about his dignity. No, I don't agree. I let out a chuckle and pulled the trigger at him. Du Kangning's pupils dilated instantly. At that moment, his mind went completely blank, leaving only endless regret, regretting that he had been so stubborn about saving face just now. But after a few seconds passed, Du Kangning didn't feel any pain. Sorry, I forgot to load the bullet just now, but now it's loaded. As I spoke, I aimed at his head again. No! Du Kangning knelt down with a plop. Take that bitch if you want! Please don't kill me. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone present looked down on him. They all despised his act of abandoning his wife to save his own life. The image Du Kangning had worked so hard to build collapsed completely. Mayor Du, tisk, tisk, tisk. Enough, you can get lost now. My disdainful voice made Du Kangning unable to lift his head. He could only slink away with the other survivors. Su Rui stayed at the end, wanting to say a few more words. There's an arms depot in the police station where I work. There should be quite a few pistols and rifles inside, and at least 500 bullets. Hearing this, I thought for 2.5 seconds. An arms depot in a police station. Usually, their locations are quite secret, and they must be locked. This won't be easy to find. Su Rui nodded. That's right. But when you're ready to leave, you can call me. I can show you the way. Hearing this, I couldn't help but say, why don't you stay too? Unexpectedly, Su Rui shook her head. No, they still need me. Hearing this, I thought for a moment, and finally handed the pistol back to her, for her to use in self-defense. After all, she was now the key to that warehouse of guns. If something happened to her, not only would the first kiss reward be lost, but the arms depot would also be out of the question. Then I added a few more words, telling her not to take out the pistol in front of others, unless it was a last resort, especially not in front of Du Kangning. Although Su Rui didn't quite understand, she still took the pistol and thanked me. After she walked far away, I took the remaining people back to the safe house. As for Tang Xin and Du Jiajie, I arranged for them to stay in the billiard room of safe house number 2. Even though it was a billiard room, it was no different from a regular room. At the same time, inside safe house number 1, after everyone finished their meal, no one left. Keeluk and Zhang Miao Miao in particular. Their thoughts were practically written all over their faces. They glanced at me from time to time. At this moment, Ning Yao, who had finished washing the dishes, walked up to me and spoke with a bashful expression. Can you come to my room for a moment? I have something to talk to you about. Before I could respond, Zhang Miao Miao had already stood up. I'm sleepy, she said. I'm going back to my room to rest. With that, she grabbed Shilei and ran toward the room. Ning Yao gave them a grateful glance, then turned to me, her face filled with expectation as she waited for my answer. I hesitated for 2.5 seconds, then spoke slowly. Sure, soon after. Inside the safe house room, Ning Yao hung her head shyly, occasionally tucking a strand of hair behind her ear with her fingers. After a long silence, she finally spoke. Do you remember the first time I saw you? It was in the office bathroom. You were killing zombies. And I screamed for your help, but you ignored me. At that time, I thought you were so cold-blooded, so inhuman, but just when I despaired and was ready to die, you appeared again at the office door. You looked so tall and strong to me, like a savior. Maybe that's when my heart completely fell for you." As she said these words, Ning Yao looked at me affectionately. She had rehearsed these words in her mind hundreds of times, but had never found the chance to say them. Not until she was attacked by a zombie, when she thought she was going to be infected into a zombie, that she'd never get to say these words. She felt overwhelming regret. So she made up her mind, if she survived, she would summon the courage to say these things. With that thought, Ning Yao slowly reached toward her shoulder and began to show her stat panel. My eyes were immediately drawn to it. At that moment, I felt an unknown fire surge within me, as if it had been taken over by the Yunluo heart flame. But just as I was about to regain control, the bedroom door was slammed open. Che Xiaoxiao stood behind it, her face expressionless. Seeing her, I panicked, hurriedly put on my clothes, and stopped trying to regain control. "Xiaoxiao, what are you doing here? Didn't I tell you to wait for me?" "I won't be fooled again," she said, lifting her finger to point at me. "You promised you'd give me a reward when you got back, and you still haven't given me the food from before either." Hearing this, I laughed awkwardly, then opened my panel to check. Chi Xiaoxiao's affection level had risen to 95. Her intelligence now wasn't much different from before she mutated. It was just that because she'd lost her memories, she seemed a bit dull. "Give it back! Give me everything you owe me!" With that, Che Xiaoxiao lunged forward and pushed me to the ground. I tried to struggle, but right now I was just an ordinary person. No match for the evolved Che Xiaoxiao at all. Soon my hands were pinned down, and my whole body was pressed firmly to the floor. Seeing that my last attempt to resist was useless, I quickly looked at Ning Yao with pleading eyes. But Ning Yao had already put on her clothes and was walking toward the door. "Sorry, I can't help you. After all, this is a private matter between you and little sister Xiaoxiao. It's not my place to interfere." With that, she walked out of the room, even kindly closing the door behind her. Outside the door, Ning Yao clearly felt a little regretful and disappointed, but Che Xiaoxiao had been the first to meet me. As the older one, she thought she ought to let Che Xiaoxiao have her way. Inside the room, my clothes had been torn to shreds. Che Xiaoxiao tilted her head. She didn't know what to do next, but she had seen Zhang Miao Miao and me working overtime in the bathroom before, so she started to imitate what she'd seen as best as she could. Only her work skills were far too clumsy, making me wince in pain. If I hadn't gotten the zombie virus vaccine, I might even have been at risk of infection. Since I couldn't resist, I figured I might as well make the work more comfortable for myself. "Forget it. Let me teach you instead. First, you do this, then this." I actually had a knack for teaching employees and soon taught Che Xiaoxiao well. From verbal instruction to hands-on practice, we completed a full set of work tasks. Unfortunately, I'd overestimated my own work capacity. After overtime, my eye sockets were sunken, my cheeks gaunt, looking completely exhausted. At the same time, the system notification sound rang out. Name, Che Xiaoxiao, identity, female college student. Campus belle, cosplay enthusiast, zombie. Affection level 100. Initial reward, 100 kilos of raw meat. First kiss reward, zombie virus vaccine. Complete strategy reward. Gene evolution potion. Using my last bit of strength, I extracted the gene evolution potion. It was a clear test tube filled with purple liquid, and the liquid inside formed a spiral structure. The gene evolution potion was far rarer than the zombie virus vaccine. In my previous life, I'd only heard of it. I'd never actually seen one. It was said that a certain scientist had extracted it from evolved zombies, and it could help humans break through their limits and greatly enhance their physical fitness. Its only drawback was its extreme scarcity. Moreover, the success rate after injection wasn't 100%. 90% of people who injected it turned into zombies, but I didn't have to worry about that. After all, I'd already gotten the virus vaccine, so I couldn't be infected into a zombie at all. This meant my evolution would be 100% successful. Thinking this, I picked up the needle and injected it into my arm. As soon as I finished the injection, I felt my body temperature rise rapidly. It was like there was a furnace in my stomach. I could only grit my teeth and endure it. Just as my consciousness was about to fade, the heat wave finally began to subside. My body temperature returned to normal, and was soon followed by a powerful sense of strength. Unlike zombies, which only evolved in one specific area, the enhancement from the evolution potion was comprehensive. I tried jumping. I could easily touch the 3-meter-high ceiling, Then I did 100 push-ups in a row, without even blushing or panting. Whoa, my physical fitness now is basically that of a superhuman, right? The energy brought by my enhanced stamina made me can't help but look at Che Xiaoxiao. This time I'm definitely going to get my revenge. I immediately pounced on her, forcing Che Xiaoxiao to work overtime with me. Unfortunately, the final result remained the same. I ended up being defeated again. It wasn't that I was incompetent. It was just that zombies simply don't get tired. The next day when I got up, I went to the living room. The women were all looking at me with strange looks. What's wrong? Is there a flower on my face? I asked in confusion. No flower, but you do look a bit more handsome than before, Jilo said, barely holding back her laughter. Who knew men could also look radiant from nourishment? Not just women? Look at how radiant the boss is. He must have shown off his might last night. Zhang Miao Miao also giggled behind her hand. At that moment, I finally realized. They were teasing me about being forced to work overtime yesterday. I gritted my teeth and called out to Ning Yao. Ning Yao laughed awkwardly. Oh, I have meat stewing in the kitchen. I'll go check on it. She was just about to stand up when I suddenly appeared from one side of the living room to the other, blocking Ning Yao's way. My face was less than 5 centimeters away from Ning Yao's. What do you think I should do to punish you? Well, how about spanking your palm? Ning Yao suggested tentatively. Hearing this, I chuckled. Spanking palms is a way to discipline kids. Adults have their own methods. With that, I picked Ning Yao up in my arms. You got away last night. But today, I'm definitely going to teach you a good lesson. I don't believe you have much stamina left from last night. Hearing Ning Yao's provocation, I quickly took her back to the bedroom. 5 minutes later, having regained my masculine dignity, I walked out of the safe house again and extracted the newly obtained medical room. It was fully equipped with all kinds of medical equipment, and the medical cabinets were even filled with various medicines. Ning Yao was over the moon, even though she was already out of strength. She still started researching all the equipment inside. At the same time, on the other side, 5 days had passed since they escaped from Haitian residential quarter. The remaining survivors, under the leadership of Du Kangning, had settled down in an ordinary residential area near Binhai University, learning from previous experiences. Du Kangning had more than 20 people spread out across the entire community. She also forcibly ordered them not to go out in groups, not to make fires in the community's open spaces, and not to stay outdoors for a long time. She did all this to avoid attracting the attention of intelligent zombies. Soon, because of this rule, those who went out to gather food had to act alone. A single person couldn't bring back much food each time, so everyone in this temporary camp lived a miserable life where they didn't know where their next meal would come from. One noon, a long line had formed outside the community homeowners committee room. All the survivors, pale and emaciated, waited for food distribution, seeing that the person in front only got a small pack of bread and a small cup. Someone finally started complaining. Why is the food getting less and less? If this goes on, we'll all starve to death. Exactly, Director Did you keep all the food for yourself? Du Kangning happened to come in from outside and heard their conversation. She knew that if she didn't refute the rumors, public opinion would definitely cause a riot. So Du Kangning put on a stern face and said seriously, "What are you talking about?" The two of them were startled. When they turned around and saw it was Du Kangning, they even felt a little guilty. However, they had been successful entrepreneurs before. In terms of status and background, they were no worse than Du Kangning, so they weren't really afraid of her. One of them even retorted, "Am I wrong? So many people are going hungry now. Dare you say you're not responsible?" Hearing her trying to win others' approval, Du Kangning had to explain. All the food everyone has brought back is in the room at the back. If you don't believe me, you can go check it out yourselves. After saying that, she turned to the crowd that had looked over and said in a loud voice, "Gathering all food for unified distribution was a decision we all made together. If anyone has objections, we can definitely cancel the system. Starting today, everyone can keep whatever food they get for themselves." When the two heard this, their expressions changed instantly. If they had the ability to get food on their own, they wouldn't have complained in the first place. So they immediately spoke in a humble tone. "Director Du, you're right. We talk too much." Hearing this, Du Kangning gave them a sideways glare, then walked to the front of the line. "Here, let me help you." Du Kangning took the food initiative and helped distribute it to everyone. This action made her image in everyone's hearts even more noble. Every person who took the food felt sincere gratitude. Thank you, Director Du. You're welcome. This is what I should do. Although the number of people had decreased, Du Kangning's authority had clearly grown stronger. Many people whispered about her secretly. Director Du is truly a great leader. Yeah, such a responsible director is really rare. It's a pity for Director Du's wife. She was forcibly taken away by that terrible bastard. Sooner or later, we'll teach that guy a good lesson and rescue the director's wife. Hearing the discussions of the people below, a faint, almost imperceptible curve appeared on Du Kangning's lips. Establishing an external potential enemy for the team was the most effective way to divert conflicts and unite the team. At this moment, Su Rui, who had gone out to look for food, walked in. The moment they saw her, everyone stopped talking and looked at her with cold eyes. Su Rui keenly noticed the change in atmosphere, but she didn't pay much attention to it. Instead, she walked up to Du Kangning and poured out a whole bag of food. Seeing this, Du Kangning put on a warm and enthusiastic smile. Officer Su, you brought back so much food again. You must be tired. It's nothing, by the way. I can't go looking for food this afternoon. I have something important to do. Du Kangning's smile froze for a moment, but quickly recovered. Okay, I got it. Go take care of your business. Obviously, Du Kangning had already guessed what Su Rui was going to do. This bitch. She must be going to move guns with that bastard. If that guy gets more guns, his strength will increase greatly. That's not a good thing for me at all. Although Du Kangning thought this, she had no valid reason to keep Su Rui, so she could only watch Su Rui leave proudly. After Su Rui left, the people below started talking again. Is Officer Su really on our side? Why would she deliver weapons to the enemy? How can you say that? If Officer Su wasn't on our side, why would she work so hard? To find food for us? Huh, it's just atonement. That's all she deserves to do. This was exactly what Du Kangning wanted to see. After all, two tigers couldn't share one mountain. Su Rui had already begun to threaten her authority. On the other side, at the entrance of Binhai University, while Su Rui was waiting for me, she also took the opportunity to observe the surroundings. She noticed that the snow seemed to show signs of melting, and the icicles hanging under the guardhouse eaves were also dripping water. This discovery made Su Rui feel a faint sense of unease. Although the temperature was rising and the snow was melting, which would improve the living conditions of survivors in Binhai City, the zombies buried under the snow would also break free. This would be a disaster for the survivors. Just as she was torn between hope and worry, the sound of a heavy truck rang out not far away. Get in, I shouted to her. Su Rui didn't refuse. She climbed into the passenger seat. How have you been lately? My casual question made Su Rui's heart warm. Over the past few days in the camp, wherever she went, she was met with cold stares, and all she heard were sarcastic remarks. It turned out that even the strongest woman still needed care. This one sentence alone caused her affection level for me to rise. Fine, Su Rui replied, pretending not to care, to hide the turmoil in her heart. That's good, I said. I was worried you'd be having a hard time. Su Rui lowered her head and smiled bitterly. Seems like I can't hide anything from you. When we get back this time, you can tell them that you and I are even. Maybe that will give you some room to maneuver. But Su Rui shook her head and refused. I help them out of respect for my profession. As for who I associate with, that's my personal freedom. Suit yourself, I sighed, saying no more. Half an hour later, we finally arrived at the police station. After stopping the truck, I walked to the back of the vehicle and opened the cargo door. Two girls climbed down from it. One was Che Xiaoxiao, and the other was Su Yulan. After several days of care, I had successfully raised Su Yulan's affection level to 60. Now she had regained some thinking and language abilities, so at the very least we no longer had to worry about her attacking others. Su Rui greeted the two of them, but neither of them responded. I laughed awkwardly. They're not very talkative. I understand, Su Rui said, but she couldn't help feeling confused. Still, she didn't ask further. Before entering the police station, Su Rui warned, the inside is quite complicated. Many corridors, many rooms, so you must stay alert at all times. I nodded. Got it, then. Su Rui looked at the two girls. Che Xiaoxiao didn't need her protection, but the other one, Su Yulan, looked very delicate. So Su Rui said to Su Yulan, stay behind me. I'll protect you. Hearing this, Su Yulan just smiled softly. Once ready, Suri took a deep breath, pushed open the police station door, and walked in. As expected, there were many zombies inside. The moment we entered, 2 zombies in police uniforms came straight at us. Suri raised her hand to aim, but suddenly saw a figure dash out. Then came 2 crisp sounds of necks being snapped. Surui looked up in surprise. There stood Su Yulan, holding a zombie corpse in each hand. On her pure and beautiful face, dark veins began to appear. She. Su Yulan. Surui was stunned and dumbfounded, unable to speak for a moment. Yulan, she's an athlete. It's normal for her to be fast, right? I explained with a straight face. Are you serious? Surui was at a loss for words. This excuse is so bad. What kind of athlete can snap 2 zombies' necks at once? And those dark veins on her face. She doesn't look normal at all. Seeing the doubt in Surui's eyes, I shrugged helplessly. Just stay behind us. Surui was smart. Seeing my attitude, she didn't press further. She put away her pistol and followed behind me. Turn left ahead, be careful. There are offices on both sides. Zombies might be lying in wait. Sure enough, as we passed the offices, zombies rushed out from both sides. Su Yulan met the ones on the left, but the ones on the right were unguarded. Surui instinctively raised her hand. But I kicked out first. The zombie at the front flew backward like a cannonball, knocking down the other zombies behind it. I finished off the rest with a single axe strike. Surui was shocked by the scene. As a police officer, she exercised regularly, so she knew how terrifying the strength was. To kick a zombie flying and knock down 2 more. With Su Yulan and I working together, we quickly fought our way from the station entrance to the chief's office. Surui stepped forward, took a key from the office cabinet, and said, "This is the key to the armory. It's right next to the chief's office." She inserted the key, twisted it, and opened the door. Inside was a medium-sized warehouse, bulletproof vests, batons, police uniforms, and other standard equipment were placed on shelves on both sides. A row of guns and ammunition were in the cabinet at the front. These rifles, Kjønnspistol, and nearly 1,000 rounds of ammunition, for both rifles and pistols combined. These weapons were enough to equip a small team, but Surui reacted calmly. This is just a branch station where I work. This is all the equipment we have, but I was already satisfied. This is more than enough, I said. I took out a large bag, packed all the guns and equipment into it, and once it was ready, I handed the bag to Che Xiao. Back in the truck, I was in a good mood. You contributed the most today. You can pick any one of these guns, I said to Surui. Surui shook her head modestly. I just showed the way. You and Su Yulan killed all the zombies. I didn't help at all. For me, killing zombies is the easiest thing, I said. Boasting without sounding like you're boasting is the deadliest, and Surui couldn't even refute it. Seeing I was sincere about thanking her, she stopped refusing. I'll take this pistol, she said. It was exactly the one she had lent me before. Soon, the truck approached the temporary camp. I'll get off here, Surui said. After she got out, I still reminded her, be careful of Du Kangning. She's not as noble and upright as you think. Surui looked unconcerned. I know, I'll be careful. Deep down, though, she still didn't think Du Kangning was that bad. She still believed that our conflict was the reason I was bad-mouthing Du Kangning. Seeing her perfunctory attitude, I knew she hadn't listened. I shrugged helplessly. I've done everything I can for Surui. If she doesn't believe me, so be it. She'll definitely regret it someday. Soon, Surui returned to the camp. The survivors who had lined up for food during the day had already gone back to their rooms. Surui was about to leave, but someone called out to her. She turned around. It was Du Kangning. Director Du? It's so late, haven't you rested yet? Surui asked. I have, Du Kangning said. You were gone so long. I was worried about you. Surui replied politely. Thank you, Director Du. But then she remembered her earlier discovery. Director Du, when I went out today, I noticed the snow is starting to melt. I'm worried the temperature will rise in the next few days. Upon hearing this, Du Kangning frowned tightly. Once the zombies regain their mobility, my movements will be restricted instead. It seems we need to hurry up and clear out a safe zone, she said. With that, Du Kangning sighed again. Our situation will only get harder from here on out. If only we had guns. Whether it's clearing the safe zone or searching for food, our safety would be greatly improved. It's a pity we don't have a single gun. Hearing Du Kangning say this, Surui thought she was agile enough to kill zombies even without a pistol. But if Du Kangning had a pistol, she could protect the camp's survivors when Surui wasn't around. Thinking this, she wanted to hand her pistol to Du Kangning for safekeeping. But at this crucial moment, Surui remembered my words and pulled her hand back. However, Du Kangning had already noticed Surui's instinctive movement of touching her waist. She guessed what was going on, and her excitement surged immediately. Still, she put on an act. Sorry for talking about this. I didn't mean to put you in an awkward position. Surui shook her head. Nothing. If there's nothing else, I'll go back to rest first. After Surui left, Du Kangning could no longer contain her excitement. Surui must have a gun on her. I have to find a way to get that gun from her. Once she had a gun, Du Kangning could proceed with her revenge plan. With the first gun, she could take care of that bastard, then seize all the guns he got today. Thinking this, a malicious glint flashed in Du Kangning's eyes. I also need to find a way to contact Tang Xin. Only with her help can I lure that guy out. Just as Surui had predicted, the temperature in the following days rose by 5 degrees Celsius every day, and while the zombies were still trapped, I took Che Xiao and Su Yulan to thoroughly search and clear Binhai University. I completely took Binhai University as my territory. Because of this, Tang Xin and Du Jiajia not only had to plant potatoes these days, but also bury the zombie corpses to prevent the spread of plague from rotting bodies. At this point, Du Jiajia couldn't help complaining. Why do I have to do all this work? After all, I'm the mayor's daughter. I've always had people wait on me hand and foot. Hearing Du Jiajia's words, Tang Xin replied, Didn't you hear what the boss said? If you want to stay here, you have to work. Du Jiajia was clearly unconvinced. Then why don't those women in room 1 have to bury corpses? Tang Xin hesitated for a moment, then said, They work too, just not the same work as us. Du Jiajia still thought it was unfair. I think those women have a special relationship with Brother Expert. They're probably his girlfriends. Upon hearing this, Tang Xin was shocked. No way! How could he have so many girlfriends? Du Jiajia scoffed. Mom, when is this? You're still being so naive. Not to mention it's the apocalypse now. Even before the apocalypse, those high-ranking officials and rich people all had tons of lovers, didn't they? Tang Xin still couldn't accept it. Who says high officials and nobles must have lots of lovers? At least your dad isn't like that. Du Jiajia snorted in disdain. You forget, before you, he had another wife. And they've still been in contact. Du Jiajia's words stabbed Tang Xin deeply in the heart. She dropped her shovel, placed her hands on her hips, and scolded Du Jiajia so angrily for the first time. I know you have a grudge against your dad, and I know he let you down. But how can you slander him like that? Du Jiajia also lost her temper, jumping up immediately. Slander before he brought his ex-wife home to stay overnight. Almost everyone knew about it. You were the only one kept in the dark. Tang Xin was struck dumb as if hit by lightning. She was completely stunned, seeing her mother look so devastated. Du Jiajia regretted saying such hurtful things, but she still refused to back down and apologize. Anyway, I don't want to do manual labor anymore. I want to be Brother Expert's girlfriend too. Hearing this, Tang Xin seriously admonished her. Jiajia, you're a girl. How can you say that? Oh, I can't take this anymore. I'll go move the corpses instead. Du Jiajia, growing utterly impatient, snorted and walked away to move the corpses. Seeing this, Tang Xin sighed and prepared to go back to filling the soil. But faintly, she heard someone calling her name. Tang Xin stopped her work, glanced around, and found someone lying outside the fence. Moreover, she felt she had seen this person before. After thinking for a moment, she still walked over. The man spoke in a low, excited yet furtive voice. Madam, I finally found you. Tang Xin looked confused. It's me, Xiaojun! We met before, remember, Xiaojun? Oh, right. Do you need something from me? Xiaojun first glanced around, and when he saw no one was nearby, he said, Mayor Du asked me to pass a few words to you. Hearing it was from Du Kangning. Tang Xin hurried to ask, what did he tell you to say? Mayor Du wants you to try to get close to that man and build a good relationship with him. He said he has a plan. A plan that can reunite your family, so you need to gain Mr. Chen's trust. Tang Xin was reluctant at first, but when she heard it was for her family's reunion, she immediately agreed. I know, I will work hard. Seeing a figure approaching in the distance, Xiaojun hurried to say, Someone's coming. I have to go. Just as he was leaving, Xiaojun turned back and added, "Oh, right. Mayor Du also said that if necessary, you can make some sacrifices."